All right. I think I'm live. Here's that way. One sec. Just going to take a few moments to kind of check some things. So just kind of sit tight for a few seconds. And I'm feeling a lot better today. I don't know, you guys saw I canceled last time or rescheduled because of a little outbreak of COVID in my family. I couldn't talk very well for a few days, but I've kind of got my voice back, including my sense of taste. So, whoops. What's going on? Getting some buffering on YouTube here. Let me go down in the chat. Are you guys seeing any technical issues on your end with the stream itself? Just kind of let me know in the chat if you see anything weird. Strange. Okay, maybe that's just on my side. I've got like a loading icon. It seems like it's not streaming. I'm going to assume everything's good. So yeah, welcome to episode 31. Can't believe we're like 31 episodes in, but we don't do these. Well, I don't do these as often as I used to. I think that's mostly to kind of give us a lot more to talk about. I notice when we do these things every single month, there's not always a lot to talk about, just given the development cycle of the games and the fact that you guys ask a lot of questions. So it kind of uses up everything, all the talking points and material that we have to cover. So I think most of you have already kind of tuned in for previous Q&A sessions with me, so you know what this is about. Here. Oh, I'm getting a YouTube poor stream status. One second. Let me just check this and make sure it's not going to crash. Okay, I'm going to assume everything is okay because it's not cutting out yet. The internet in Taiwan can be a little bit spotty sometimes, seeing as that's where I'm based. So for anyone that doesn't know, what I usually do with these Q&A live streams is that I'll just take questions from you guys either through super chats or through emails or directly in the member chat. And that's a way to give our biggest supporters a chance to kind of talk to me directly and ask me questions directly. Our YouTube members and the people that support us with super chats are usually also the people that support our games and support our merchandise. So they're extremely important to us, and we want to give them a chance to kind of reach us directly rather than, you know, posting things into the void on social media. So we're going to start with super chat questions, and don't worry if you sent me a question through email. I've got those here with me, so I'm going to kind of look through those after the super chats. So we're going to do super chats, member questions, and then I'll finish off with email questions if anybody emailed something in and we didn't cover it in the super chats. So once again, if you do a super chat, please, you know, keep it related to the games. As much as I love to play the birthday clown, don't make me dance on camera just to make this, you know, 5 hours long. It is a little bit earlier here today. It's like 12:30 a.m., a little bit past midnight, not too late. But I run out of gas around 3 a.m. usually. But let's try to just get some good information out to the community. So, scrolling to the top here, I've got Ann Cook through N2. Thank you, Ann. And says, will Dark Deception go on console this year before Chapter 5 or after? Well, I can't exactly like nail down any release dates. I can say that Dark Deception is going to be on console this year. Pretty much every console, including mobile. So yeah, you'll be able to finally play Dark Deception on consoles this year, including newer hardware of mobile. I think the older mobile generations won't be able to handle it, but the newer generations over the last 5 years can pretty easily handle it. All right, UBF 13 through and 2 and said, will Prison Panic be shown in the teaser trailer? Well, for those of you who don't know, we're going to have 2 teaser trailers, and it is going to show, those teaser trailers are not gameplay. So let me get that. I've already said that online, but a lot of people always miss it. So I have to kind of reiterate that again. These teasers are meant to give a peek at the atmosphere of Dark Deception Chapter 5. So they are a bit more cinematic in nature. They completely use game assets. So it is what you're going to see in the game, but it's meant to give a hint of the story. So the gameplay trailers are going to come after the teasers. So if you just want to see the gameplay, that's going to be a little bit later after these 2 teaser trailers. But if you want to know what the story of Dark Deception Chapter 5 is going to be like, these 2 teasers are meant to give a hint of that and entertain you. They're actually pretty long. So I think you're all going to really like the first one. And the second one, you may even like more because it does give more of a peek at the enemies and some of the environments. So we'll see which one you like better. But the first teaser trailer is coming up very soon. Likely end of June or first week of July. We'll see. But we want to give them, we want to have enough time to do the best trailer that we can do. So we're not going to rush it. But it's definitely going to be kind of in that timeline. So very soon. And let's see. We've got Anonymous fan through in 10 has 2 questions. So thank you, Anonymous. Hi, Vince. Fan here. Anonymous fan. Number 1, any Piggy updates? Number 2, can you reveal the TV monster's name? So Piggy updates, yeah, actually we have been working on Piggy kind of in the background. I said that would be kind of a Q3, Q4 release at the end of 2025. So that's kind of slated towards the back half of 2025, that Piggy Doors collaboration. So I'm kind of working in the background with Minitune and Elsplash. And I think recently I've been mostly sending some designs and stuff to Minitune, and we're kind of discussing that. But there's still a lot more to be done. And it's going to take a few more months to kind of finalize that. So nothing that I can show publicly yet, but we will get to the point where I can finally show, some character models and some concept art and stuff like that to start to get Piggy and Roblox or Piggy and Doors fans excited. It's just not yet, but that is coming. And as far as the TV monster's name, I assume you're referring to the TV and that kind of vague blob that I posted previously that the Dark Deception community pretty much just refers to as the blob. I can't reveal what that is yet, but I think you'll see it in one of the teasers. Will kind of hint at what it is. So you don't have to wait too much longer to find out. Sorry, you're going to see me kind of sip the tea a bit. Keeps the throat from getting too sore, so bear with me. Let's see. Number 2 from Anonymous Fan. Can you reveal upcoming crossovers for Super Dark Deception or any new ones from Monsters and Mortals? Well, the only other crossover that we have coming for Monsters and Mortals is the Piggy and Doors DLC this year. So this year is going to have 2 DLC releases, plus the other big update is the skin packs. Like, we're going to drop 5 different skin packs for like 100 different skins across all characters in the base game. Plus the Coma DLC, which already came out, and then the Piggy and Doors DLC, which is free. And that's going to be the big one to kind of cap off at the end of the year. And that's a lot of content for 1 year, for one game. So I'm pretty happy with that. And Super Dark Deception, we do have a DLC partner, but it's not going to happen until after Chapter 2. And a couple other updates post-launch of Chapter 2. So I think maybe at the end of 2025, I'll be able to share more information on that, but it's not the time yet. But yeah, we are already working on DLC for Super Dark Deception. Let me see. The next one is, let me just read through these. Okay, Tony BG threw in BGN 5. Thank you, Tony. And he said, when will we get a new Chapter 5 OST and the rest of Super Dark Deception Chapter 1 soundtrack? Actually, I think we're kind of overdue to release the full soundtrack of Dark Deception Chapter 1. And then we'll probably do Chapter 2 at exactly the same time, since it just kind of got delayed and worked out that way that they're both kind of done at the same time. We can do 2 mini albums for Super Dark Deception that fans can have access to. And as far as YouTube dropping another Chapter 5 OST, probably pretty soon. I'll probably do it right before the Chapter 5 first teaser drops, just to give people something to be excited about and kind of build up to that. We've had plenty of songs that I haven't released yet for Chapter 5, so there's really just kind of pick one that I think is not going to spoil things, and then I will kind of share that. So don't worry, we have a lot of awesome kind of unreleased Chapter 5 music, even though you think there's a lot and that there can't possibly be any more. There's actually a lot more. So no worries. Virtual Man threw in a 5. Thank you, Virtual Man. Are the improvements for Mascot Mayhem and some of the new kill screens for Dark Deception enhanced and inspired, or enhanced plus, inspired by animatronic atrocity and its jump scares? I think animatronic atrocity is one of the fan games that was kind of pitched to us the most for improving Mascot Mayhem. It has a pretty vocal and supportive following for that fan developer, and they've been very vocal about things they thought were better. So yeah, I did listen to them for a couple things that I thought actually that fan game did very well. So, but not everything, because I have seen videos of that fan game, and some things just didn't quite fit with where Mascot Mayhem is going in Dark Deception. But there were other things like the more grand entrance and kind of introduction for the Joy Joy Gang members that made sense. And we did kind of fail our fan base a bit by making that so short. So we did kind of expand that. I mean, I mean, honestly, with Chapter 1 Enhanced Plus, there's a lot of new stuff for every single level. I think a lot of people are kind of sleeping on the Chapter 1 to Chapter 4 upgrade. It's actually adds a lot to those first 4 chapters. It's going to feel like an entirely new game that you're going to want to replay from scratch again. And don't worry, it's not going to erase your S-rank files or your S-rank saves. So you can play through it and still keep your S-ranks. It's not going to change that. So you can just enjoy all the new content, and that'll get you kind of hyped up and ready for Chapter 5 by the time you're done with that. Let me see what else we have here. Let's see, Marshall threw in €2. Thank you, Marshall. What's the most intimidating enemy to face in Chapter 5? I mean, Chapter 5 is pretty much everybody, including a lot of new ones. So I can't really pinpoint it to one because they're all extremely challenging in their own way. I guess that's very subjective. It's just a matter of your own preference about which one you think is going to be hardest. I think right now the biggest pain for me is Darkstar, just the way her level plays. She's been the most frustrating, but I could easily say the same for some of the other enemies and other levels that I can't go into because I haven't shared who they are or announced them. So I'm pretty sure everybody's going to have a different opinion on that. We'll see. I got another one from Tony BG. Thank you again. It says, are Lucky, Darkstar, Mama Bear, and Puppet Master, Puppet King, aware of the Demon God? Will the Puppet King go to the gym after Chapter 5? Is Beerus good at singing? Okay. All right, well, let me break this down. So, Lucky, Darkstar, Mama Bear, and Puppet King, are they aware of the Demon God? So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about with the demon god, there was a poem that we recently put into the Fortnite map, voiced in the voice of the Blue Orb, who many in the community refer to as Tammy, the Tammy Orb. So that's being read in that voice, and it's alluding to a demon god that kind of plays out in Chapter 5. So that was kind of our teaser Easter egg hidden inside of the Dark Deception Fortnite map, which thank you for everybody who supported that. Sorry to kind of segue into that, but just real quick, that Fortnite map did very well. It's been played, I think, so far over 250,000 times by almost 200,000 people in just like 5 days. So it's doing really well, and that's because of the Dark Deception community and the Fortnite community. So thanks to everybody who went and checked that out. I'm really happy with the way it came out, and it's a lot of fun. So yeah, they are all aware of the demon god to some degree. Obviously, Malik knows a lot more about him than, the rank and file soldiers in his army, but they're all aware of it to some degree. And that's something that's going to be kind of fleshed out a lot more in Chapter 5, and it's going to play a much larger role in the Chapter 5 story and leading Dark Deception 1 into Dark Deception 2. So, yeah, it's going to get a little bit crazy in Chapter 5 as you go. But I think you guys are going to like it. I think you're all going to like it. We'll see. I could, knock on wood. I hope I'm right. Let's see. Capybara Gamer threw in 5 reals. Thank you, Capybara. It says, hey, Vince, how long will Chapter 5 take to beat on a first playthrough and an S-Rank 1? Why is Dark Deception going to be M-rated? What's Doug's wife's first name? Okay. So how long will Chapter 5 take to beat on a first playthrough? Actually, to be honest, I haven't really timed Chapter 5 from beginning to end, including cutscenes and everything, for how long it plays. I could give you kind of a guesstimate. But you guys are much better than I am, and a lot of you burn through these levels in half the time that I do. So just kind of take any time estimation I say with a grain of salt. But the current estimation I would put is about 8 hours. So again, if you burn through it in 5 because you're awesome, just pat yourself on the back. Will the Puppet King hit the gym after Chapter 5? Who said he hasn't hit the gym already? I mean, like I told everybody on Twitter or on X or whatever you want to call it, nothing I post is really the final version of anything. I like to tease kind of previous versions of things or older, because I want to leave a little bit of a surprise for the final game and not spoil everything in advance. But I still want to give you kind of an idea of what's coming. So I can say that the Puppet King I showed was a reveal to kind of show his outfit and what he looks like in general. But that is not the final Puppet King model. So I can't say whether he's going to come out, all swole, or if he's going to be even skinnier than what I showed, like Jack Skellington or something. But I'll leave that as a surprise for when the game actually launches. But it will be different. And is Beerus good at singing? I think so. Maybe she will demonstrate that in Chapter 5 at some point. Capybara Gamer threw in another... Oops, is this the second one or the same thing? Oh, sorry, I kind of went back to the same thing. Okay, Croco64 threw in £5. Thank you, Croco. And he said, has the maze of Mascot Mayhem Zone 3 been expanded significantly, or has the new areas just been added for cutscenes? Actually, both. So, yeah, we took the fan feedback to heart. Many fans said that they felt Zone 3 was too small, and we expanded it. So Zone 3 is a lot bigger now. And there are a lot of new cutscenes throughout all zones of Mascot Mayhem. And I think in all levels in general. Maybe with the exception of Monkey Business. But Monkey Business is significantly changed also. So yeah, I mean, expect a lot of changes in. I mean, it'll definitely feel familiar. It'll still be the game that you remember, but it's going to be a bit different on the layout and the size and the style. Oh, I did miss one thing from Capybara, which was the M rating. That's the other big change is we've pushed the game more M rated. That was unintentional at first, but I think switching to the M rating really kind of unhandcuffed us creatively because for the longest time we've been trying to keep Dark Deception in this box to make it appropriate for more age groups. And that really kind of crippled us creatively as to what we can do to make it scary. And I don't think you need gore or a lot of like really extreme violent stuff to make something scary or make it horror. Like we don't want to make Terrifier the game. We're not trying to do something that's like a gore fest or torture porn or something like that. Like that's not our intention with the M rating, but it does allow us to use more mature themes, to use profanity in a way that enhances the game, not just to glorify profanity. So yeah, Lucky can swear now, but he's only going to do it at moments where it actually adds some value to the conversation and makes sense. And it allows us to do more than just jump scares. So now, instead of just jumping in your face and doing a little scream, they actually will do Mortal Kombat style kills without the gore. So we don't have gore. They're not going to rip out your heart or anything, but they will actually kill you. So it makes, right away, it makes the stakes in the game feel much more because now there's a much more violent consequence for messing up. And I think that overall just makes the whole game feel a lot more horror, which is pretty awesome so far. Okay, Crash. Crash through in 5, and their question is, would you play Rogue Deception when it updates in the future? Actually, I saw that fan game recently. I did retweet it, which was, it looks like a multiplayer version of Dark Deception made by a fan. So, I mean, I think it looks promising from what I've seen right now. And yeah, I hope it does come out pretty well. I'd be willing to try it out and play with some people. But we'll see, you know, probably needs a lot of time to finish. So we'll see how it shapes up as we go. Capybara Gamer threw in another 5 reals. How many endings will be obtainable in the No Room for Doubt section in Fear Fortress? Which company will make Minecraft Dark Deception? How many teasers will Chapter 5 have? Okay, well, those are 3 very different questions. Let me start with the endings. So for those that don't know, I've stated publicly that Dark Deception will have 6 endings. That's including Super Dark Deception, and each game has 3 exclusive endings. So there's actually going to be a total of 9 endings. So 3 exclusive for Super Dark Deception, 3 exclusive for Dark Deception, and 3 that are shared between both games. So I think you can guess like which 3 would be the ones that are shared. I'm not going to state them, but I'm pretty sure you can all guess. And as for No Room for Doubt, nobody knows where that song is going to play or what it relates to. So I'm not going to reveal that if it's in Fear Fortress, which I may have already stated it's a Fear Fortress track, or if it's somewhere else. That's a, you know, you'll see when Chapter 5 comes out. As for which company will make Minecraft Dark Deception, we're actually working with a company called Mascot Designs. So Mascot Designs is going to be making the first Dark Deception add-on for Minecraft, and we have something really cool planned. I'm not exactly sure when it will finish. It does need time to kind of bake in the oven to get it to like a really high quality level, but I think it's going to be pretty awesome. I don't know if anybody's played like the Sonic the Hedgehog add-ons or the SpongeBob add-on, but I think it's like right there in that league, like quality-wise, to match those. So I think it's going to be a really cool kind of experience for the Minecraft crowd, anybody that plays Minecraft or Dark Deception fans, to give them a reason to play Minecraft if they don't already. And we actually do have a fan that's helping us out with that as well. He's done a lot of really awesome Minecraft animations set in the Dark Deception universe. I'm sure some of you already know who that is. I won't say it yet because we haven't started, but I will share that later. So we've involved the community in this, and we have a really talented team that has a lot of experience with Minecraft add-ons and various collaborations inside Minecraft. So it's going to be really cool once it's done. And I'll start to share that once we have some more progress. Okay. How many teasers will Chapter 5 have? I said 2. 2 teasers. Okay, the Ghost threw in $2. Thank you, Ghost. Will Dark Deception Monsters and Mortals get host migration for hosts leaving? Probably not, because there's only so much we can do with Dark Deception Monsters and Mortals. So we're kind of capped by, like I've said this previously, that Dark Deception Monsters and Mortals is a profitable game. It's doing well. It's still alive, but it has a much smaller support pool. So there's only so much we can do. So we focus on bigger ticket issues that fans request. A lot of that is bug fixing and new content. So that's kind of where we can spend our resources, the limited resources we have for that game, to keep it alive and keep improving it. But it is a kind of a slow improvement process. It's not going to be fast because, it's not Dead by Daylight. It's not getting, millions of players a day supporting it. So that slows things down a lot. The more players we have, the more support we get, the faster we can do things and add a much larger amount of requests and fixes and improvements. So bear with us. We will keep making the game better, but it's not going to be as fast as maybe you want it to be. And that goes for consoles too. See, Anonymous Fan threw another 10. Thank you again. Number 1, are the screeching sounds and Look But Don't Touch First Zone chase theme? Sorry, I'm trying to decipher that in my head. What do the Red Stalkers sound like? Oh, okay. So you're asking if that screeching and Don't Touch, if that's what the Red Stalkers sound like. So is it a holiday horror track? No, it's not a holiday horror track, and it doesn't have any sounds from existing enemies in it, so that's not what the Red Stalkers sound like. And number 2, how much money did it make to create the Red Stalkers in real life? Or how much money would it take to create the Red Stalkers in real life? I mean, if you're just doing a static mannequin, it's probably not that expensive to just do a cast and make one. You can make it out of foam or something. If you're talking like a fan project to make a life-size one, probably you can do that fairly inexpensive. It's just more your time to make something like that. See, Boogeyman Toilet threw in 2. Thank you. Do you have an idea on when the Fortnite patch is? Yeah. So we do have a Fortnite patch coming, and that's for a few bugs that are in the map, but also the missing 3rd Easter egg, which a lot of people have asked about. Unfortunately, one of the team members, the key team members of the Fortnite map team, had to leave his country for a few days to handle some situation. So when he comes back, we will push that patch, but it's delayed for a few days. So that was probably 3 days ago. So I think at some point early next week or by midweek, we should have that patch out. Let's see. Zian threw in 5. Thank you, Zian. Does Darkstar have a more mature voice or an anime girl voice? Oh, well, her voice is Adriana Figueroa, so if you've heard her voice, it's much higher pitch. I don't know if that qualifies as an anime girl voice, but it is kind of a younger sounding voice. Whoops. Oh, YouTube did that chat jump, so let me find my place again. Okay. Anonymous Fan threw another 10. Thank you, Anonymous Fan. Is there a lore reason why male Red Stalkers don't have heads, or is that just a design choice? That's just a design choice, mainly because of the size. The male red stalkers are much larger than the female. So they get into some tight spaces where it's not good to have like a long pointy head. So it's kind of a design choice to suit the gameplay of that level. And what are the soul types of the alphabet letters and the trigger teddies? Oh, the alphabet letters were just thrown in for monsters and mortals to give it a fun boss to for that environment, because we didn't want to use, Agatha's already a playable character. We couldn't use her, and she was pretty much the only enemy in the original Dark Deception for Elementary Evil. I can give you one little hint about Dark Deception Enhanced, is that Agatha is no longer the only enemy in Elementary Evil. Now she has some help. So it'll be a little bit more interesting once you get into Zone 2. It's not going to be as easy as it was before. And then the whole relationship between Mama Bear and Trigger Teddies, I believe we kind of went over that in a previous live stream. And I don't think it was last episode. It was the previous one, maybe. But we were explaining about, or I was explaining about Mama Bear being kind of the abusive mother. And then, she loves her babies, but she also blows them up. So her love is toxic and destructive. So it's kind of that nature. So it's more about Mama Bear's type than the Trigger Teddies. They're just pretty much an extension of her. Let's see, Ghost TM threw in 2. In Super Dark Deception, in the Enoch cutscenes, where are the shards? Well, it's a cutscene, so the shards are kind of removed for that. It's more focused on the storytelling and the characters. See, Capybara Gamer threw in another 5 real. Thank you again. Are we getting voice reveals? How many gameplay trailers will Chapter 5 have? Will they be out for members first? Will every Chapter 5 level have 1,000 plus shards? All right, let's break this down. Are we getting voice reveals? Yes. And when? I don't know when we're going to put those out. Now that the SAG video game strike is over, we can record a lot of things that we were unable to record because of the strike for over a year. So that opens up the possibility to put out voice reveals once we're done, but we're not done yet. And how many gameplay trailers will Chapter 5 have? I imagine probably at least 2. I think we'll probably do a kind of short gameplay trailer first, and then a full one for launch. I think we did that with Chapter 4. We did kind of a camera fly through some of the environments as a teaser of gameplay. We'll probably do something a little bit similar, and then we'll do the, the full trailer for launch, the one that's, has all the effort put into it, and it's like a amazing trailer. That'll be that one. And will Chapter 5 levels have 1,000 shards, or 1,000 or more shards each? Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you add them all together, not in one zone. Like, you're not going to have 1,000 shard zone, but definitely over 1,000 shards for all zones combined. Let's see. We got 2 more donations from an anonymous fan for $20. Thank you, anonymous fan, again. And there are a few questions here. So, would Malik be willing to exchange a lower minion like a Red Stalker or Gold Watcher to another demon in exchange for numerous souls? Well, I mean, with the lore of Dark Deception, once they're a monster, their soul's already kind of been taken. It's been exchanged, and they've been turned into that monster. You'll get a lot more of the lore behind the soul shards and how they're created. And that is actually something that you will see in chapters 1 through 4 when we release the update. Is now you will see where soul shards come from and what the result is of the people that became soul shards, the other mortal souls. And Doug will not be so alone in the Nightmare Realms. He will start to encounter other mortals. Sorry, I lost my place. Oh, 2. What would Malik think of Dead by Daylight's entity? Well, I mean, hopefully Malik at some point in the future, if if we're that lucky, Malik will get to meet the entity and be part of that. But I'm sure he'd be a fan, given the nature of the entity and the fact that they're, you know, killing survivors. He'd probably try to make a deal with the entity to share the spoils, knowing him. And then the third question is the matron a collection of souls, or is she a single individual? If so, what was she like as a mortal? The matron is a single soul, same as the Reaper nurses. And as far as her mortal life, I haven't really written a background lore for any of them as what they were as mortals. Only their qualities that kind of led to their fate inside the Nightmare Realms. And then, of course, I do explain a lot more what the Nightmare Realms are and why they are the way they are, and why mortals kind of wind up in the Nightmare Realms and how they wind up there, and why Bierce also has access to them. So there's a lot of answers in Chapter 5 that I'm kind of saving for that, as far as the lore goes. So I'm not going to explain things too much on the lore side, because I have kind of done that inside Chapter 5 and also in the enhanced version of Chapters 1 through 4. And I've seen a lot of theories from fans about how things are going to go. So I don't want to ruin anybody's ability to theorize by providing too many facts, I guess, because that kind of boxes them in as to what they can kind of imagine for this. So I like fans to see if they were close when they see the final game, to see how far off they were or how close they were. Does Malik have a personal favorite and least favorite minion? Well, I mean, his personal favorite would probably be Agatha, since she's always by his side for many portions of the game. And he does treat her like a daughter. Least favorite minion? Probably any of the mindless ones. You know, he wouldn't value them much. They're just grunts. Pawns on his chessboard. Although, well, nope, can't say. So, see, even I was going to say something. I was like, well, that's a spoiler. I'm not going to say that. Got to catch myself sometimes. All right. Boogeyman Toilet threw in another 5. Thank you again. Will levels 13 and 14 be called... What? Bro, I'm not even going to try to read this right now. It's too late for that. I'll do the first one. Say you are my baka. Sussy Squid Game. But that last one. Oh, yeah. Not even going to try that one. And also, if we had a levels 13 and 14, we could put it to a community vote and see. But I think 12 levels with a 13th level is enough. Capybara Gamer threw in 5 reals again. Are you hiring more people for Dark Deception 2? How important is the unnamed portal? Is it part of a level or is it its own thing? How big is Fear Fortress compared to Mascot Mayhem? I think it's interesting that everybody compares the levels to Mascot Mayhem. I guess fans consider that the biggest level so far in the first 4 chapters. It seems like that. I was wondering, like, if fans think Barely Buried is the biggest, but it seems like it's definitely Mascot Mayhem, even though they complain about it being too small for 2 of the zones. But as far as hiring more people for Dark Deception 2, yeah, definitely. I mean, first we need to finish Dark Deception 1, but Dark Deception 2, which is still in the design writing phase, definitely is going to require a bigger team. It's just a more ambitious game. And if we don't want it to take 10 years, then we need a bigger team so it doesn't go so slow this time. Just remember that Dark Deception's made with, like, 4 people plus contractors. So it's a very small team, and that makes things go a lot slower. And how important is the unnamed portal? Fairly important. I won't allude to what it is or how it's used, but it does have significance in the story, the main story path. And how big is Fear... I mean, Fear Fortress is the biggest level in the game. I don't really know how to boil it down to like a percentage or a comparison for Mascot Mayhem, but it's significantly bigger than Mascot Mayhem. Maybe 2 or 3 times the size. I don't know. It really depends on what path you approach Fear Fortress on, how long it is. It is affected by how many S ranks you have. See, Ziani threw another 2. Thank you, Zian. Who is the first soul that makes Mama Bear? Who is the first soul? Well, I mean, Mama Bear would be any abusive mother, just as the Reaper nurses are basically any female that suffered through toxic relationships with toxic men. You could say that they have Stockholm Syndrome, or that they lack the strength to leave those relationships, but they basically became toxic and loved themselves because they're always attached to toxic men that didn't treat them right. So it's kind of like it's a type, a soul type. So it can be anyone through any era of human history, as long as they fulfilled those qualifications. So for as long as humans have loved each other or had children, it's possible that it could have created Mama Bear. And that leads to the question, is there one Mama Bear or is there many? We shall see. And then, let's see. Okay. Anonymous fan threw in another 5. Does Beers still like her movies, or does she regret them? Oh, yeah, she's very proud of her Hollywood career, and you'll get to see that. But it's a little bit of a bittersweet memory for her when you see kind of what went into making those movies and what she had to deal with and what she had to overcome, which also kind of led to her current situation. And you'll see that. You'll see that within Fear Fortress and within Wicked Ways and some of the levels. You'll start to see into Bierce as well, not just Doug. So nobody's going to be a mystery after the Chapter 5. It's going to be a lot of their flaws, a lot of their personality. It's going to be explored and revealed and kind of laid bare to see, you know, warts and all. And then you'll kind of make your decision based on that at some point in the game. Capybara Gamer threw another 5 reals. Thank you. It says, in GE Discord server, could you add a role for level 75? We will get the last power after Prison Panic. Or, sorry, will we get the last power after Prison Panic? And will the Chapter 5 Teaser 1 have gameplay or in-game images? Well, let me do the last 2 because those are easier. No, Chapter 5 Teaser is not going to have gameplay, as I said earlier. And I can't state when you're going to get the last power. But yeah, there's going to be 2 more powers inside of Chapter 5. I mean, you could deduce that if you get, you know, a power awarded to you after each level, then it would be after Prison Panic. But, you know, you can confirm that once you're playing it. And as far as the GE Discord server, adding a role for level 75, yeah, I don't see why not. I'll talk to the mods about that. If there's not one currently that exists to fulfill that achievement or anything near that achievement, then we can definitely add one. Let's see, Shayla Kazalias threw in 2. Thank you, Shayla. Is Malik going to chase us in Fear Fortress? Oh yeah, Malik's all over you in Fear Fortress. That's pretty much his level. So there's going to be a lot of Malik in Fear Fortress. Let's see, the Ghost threw in 5. Thank you, Ghost. When Chapter 5 is out, would you be up for notable community members streaming every level in the game for charity? Yeah, actually, I've actually been thinking it would be really cool to do a charity event of some kind with the launch of Chapter 5, just to turn, you know, launching a game helps our company, but it's a very dark game that has a lot of kind of hurtful stuff in it, a lot of, I think, sensitive topics. So I feel like rather than make, you know, I think it's a really cool story. It has a lot of lessons to learn from it, but it also is going to throw some salt into wounds for some people. Uh, if it's something that relates to their life or something that is too familiar to them. So I thought a charity would be a great way for the game to kind of give something back and help in any way that it can. And it's also a great way to share the game with a lot of people who otherwise might not watch it. So, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't even necessarily have to be playing Dark Deception. It could be playing anything from the indie horror community. I know a lot of people like Secret of the Mimic. We could play that. Pretty much anything that's released this year, I think, that's kind of popular. And then the one I usually donate to is Organization for Autism Research. But maybe we can do kind of a multiple charity stream or do more than one. But I would like to do something like to give back to the community and help people with the success of Dark Deception. So yeah, it's something I'm already kind of thinking about, and I'd be happy to involve the Dark Deception community in that if they want to help out, as well as other streamers. If you guys want to recommend a streamer to us in advance or a content creator that would like to do a charity stream like that with us, then I'm all for that. We could even do it with other developers if they're down for that, but who knows who's going to be available. That's something I'll kind of have to plan at the last minute, usually, to get something like that together, kind of like the last 2 months, because people's schedules are changing all the time. Okay, Dark Spray threw in 500 RS. Thank you, Dark Spray. And they said, will you make a super version with the sequels to Dark Deception, meaning Super Dark Deception 2 and 3, or even a possible Super Dark Deception Monsters and Mortals? Yeah, actually, I've been thinking about that. Super Dark Deception, even with just one chapter, is already doing very well, and it's a profitable game. So if we put Chapter 2 out pretty soon, like in the next month or so, and it does even better, and Super Dark Deception is clearly a successful game, that will support to do a second version. So if we do Dark Deception 2 later on, and we can do it in 2D, then we would do it as well. I think the only way we wouldn't have made a Super Dark Deception 2 is if the first one flopped. So if nobody wanted a 2D version of Dark Deception, then we would have kind of taken the hint and been like, okay, well, that was fun, but we're not going to do it again. But since it's doing so well, it does make it viable to actually do a sequel to match the Dark Deception 2 sequel. We'll see. We still have 2 more chapters for Super Dark Deception. So we have a lot of time to see how it does and see how much the Dark Deception community supports it and really think about that. But I think right now, yeah, we're clearly favoring doing a Super Dark Deception 2. Autumn Azura threw in 10. Thank you, Autumn. The alphabet letters. Here's a potential approach to add them in EE and an update. Okay. I will post each suggestion in future comments, and you tell me what you think. What say you? Oh, sure. I mean, I'm definitely open to hearing it. We've kind of already finalized Dark Deception Enhanced. I think if we throw in the alphabet letters, it's going to be insane. Like, people won't have any chance to survive because they're everywhere. In Monsters and Mortals, you have a life bar. So you can take a bunch of hits and get a life pack and kind of heal yourself. But in Dark Deception, it's one hit kill. You're dead if they touch you once. And if there's, 9 alphabet letters running around, plus Agatha, plus the other new enemies, it's like, yeah, you're not going to stand a chance with only speed boost. So that might break the game, adding that many enemies into Elementary Evil. But I still would love to hear your idea just on how you thought it should be added. I mean, I'm always interested to hear fans' opinions on things. Let's see. Zian Nee threw another $5. Thank you, Zian. Again, which general has a formal occupation in Dark Dimension before joining Malik? Probably Puppet King. So he's the one that has kind of a history before Malik that you'll find out about in Chapter 5. Sobble threw in 2. Thank you, Sobble. What will the first teaser for Chapter 5 be about? Well, I mean, the first Chapter 5 teaser is largely going to be about Doug. So you'll kind of see that when it drops. I can't reveal too much, but it does have a Doug focus. Tony BG threw in another 7. Thank you, Tony. What were Doug and Ellie's jobs? Or sorry, what were Doug's and Elise's jobs? How does Bierce keep up with new inventions? Is it because of people send her? Is it because of the people sent to her in the pocket dimension? Well, I mean, Doug's job was a lawyer. So he was an attorney, a defense attorney. And we actually have a fun mini game coming for Super Dark Deception Chapter 3 that is all about Doug's life as a lawyer. So you will get to learn a lot more about his past life as a lawyer in the 3rd chapter of Super Dark Deception. It's going to be pretty fun. For anyone that's a fan of Phoenix Wright and some other games that are pretty over the top like that. And as far as Elise's job, I never really alluded to that in any of the letters that exist within chapters 1 through 4. So that's still a mystery to the Dark Deception community. I've only alluded to her history with her mental disorders and her prescription abuse and her issues with her marriage and her family. But I haven't really revealed what she was professionally. So you will see more of that in Chapter 5, though. So it's another one of those, it's in Chapter 5. You'll see when that comes out. And as far as Bierce keeping up with new inventions, she mostly learns about the mortal world through the souls that come to her pocket dimension, yes. Such as the tablet that was left behind by Elise. Or did Elise really get it herself? I mean, she's from a time period that didn't have a tablet. So I've never explained where the tablet came from. Let's see. Boogeyman Toilet threw in another 5. Thank you, Boogeyman. Can you allow swearing in the GE server now that the Dark Deception is rated M? No. The game might be rated M, but we do have fans of all ages, so we do try to keep it classy, you know, in the Dark Deception, the GE server, because it's not just for Dark Deception, it's for all our games, including Super Dark Deception, which is not rated M. So yeah, you know, keep it civil, keep it classy in the GE server, and we can all have a good time. Let's see. Prende's Family Gaming threw in 5. Hi, Vince. I want to know what Darkstar's powers are, and if you can't answer that, which I can't, then when is the first music with vocals for Prison Panic coming? Well, I've always been kind of torn on the Prison Panic music. I don't want to spoil some of the vocal tracks that we've done because they're, one, I love them. They're really great. And 2, she sings about what's happening at that moment. So it's a spoiler because she's kind of revealing through her lyrics what's happening in the game. So I don't want to post those, even though I really want to share them with the fan base because they're awesome. I don't want to spoil the game. So it's kind of like a personal decision not to put those up, even though I'd really like to. And I think that's going to be better because when people first hear it, it'll be something more special than if I had kind of released it beforehand and you guys, you know, listened to it. Oh, what happened? Shoot, I hope that didn't cut out. Hopefully nothing happened on your side, but my studio just went down. Okay, seems like it's okay. Let me find my place again, because yeah, the whole YouTube studio page just crashed. That seems to happen pretty often now when I live stream. I hope that's not going to be a consistent thing. Okay. All right, I'm back and got my place back. But yeah, I mean, that's probably something I'm not going to be able to share. So I try to share the Prison Panic tracks that don't have the vocals, but a lot of those are not quite the same as the ones with vocals. So I did share the one that's Tammy's Lullaby, which actually is sung by Adriana as well. So you can kind of get an idea of what her voice sounds like just from that. But I probably can't release the Prison Panic vocal tracks. Autumn Azura threw in 5. Thank you, Autumn, again. Intro. The letters appear with Agatha in a creepy theatrical entrance in the auditorium. You know, I think now Elementary Evil is actually scary. Like, before it was fun, she's creepy, but I genuinely believe Elementary Evil is scary now with the new changes. So I think it'll be okay without the letters. The letters would just make it impossible, which would be fun if this was one of those games where it's just a big middle finger to the players, like there's no way to actually win. Like, yeah, try to get S rank with this. Make it impossible to get the S rank. They all just form a circle around the portal so you can never escape. Unicat Ninja, say, welcome back. Through in 10. Thank you, Unicat. Oh, you're asking for somebody else. Okay. Marshall asks, how many characters are in Fear Fortress apart from Malik? All of them. Will Penny be added to Mascot Mayhem Zone 2 and Enhanced Plus? Nope. It's still just pretty much Lucky and Hangry for that. They each kind of still have their own zones. They each kind of team up with Lucky in individual zones. And which Chapter 5 levels monster design is scariest? Did you already record with all Chapter 5 VAs? Well, for the VAs, no, because the strike literally just ended like a week or so ago. So we're kind of catching up on that now. There's a couple voice actors that I haven't announced because of their roles are very sensitive, because they haven't been publicly revealed yet, and it is a spoiler for the story. So I will share their contributions at some point with the community when we get closer. But you may hear them in Chapter 2's teaser, at least one of them. And as far as which Chapter 5 level monster design is scariest, my personal opinion is one that I haven't revealed yet, and it's from Wicked Ways. That's just my personal opinion. Autumn Azur threw in another 5. Thank you again, Autumn. Chase phase. During Agatha's frenzy, the letters could briefly block paths. Hey, that's what I said. Just block the portal so nobody can actually escape. They could briefly block paths or appear like the Dread Duckies in Stranger Sewers. Oh, so they would kind of sit there stationary, pretending to be inanimate, and then they would just suddenly spring to life and come after you, kind of one at a time. That could still be fair. Like if they were just like little props in the room, but then they jumped up and grew legs and came after you like a little goblin or something. That could possibly work. Maybe in a future update, or maybe in a future addition to Super Dark Deception, we could do something like that. I don't know, but it's not actually a bad take. That would actually work in some instances. Let's see, Shadow X Acno threw in 5. Thank you, Shadow. And says, we need a reminder. Is Doug's wife Clarissa Elise Hauser or Elise Clarissa Hauser? You know, you might not be the only one that needs a reminder, because I put that on one of the notes that you find, I believe, in Mascot Mayhem. It's on a police report, or it's on a prescription form. And if I remember correctly, and please don't quote me on this because it's very late, It is Clarissa Elise Hauser. Elise is her middle name. Clarissa is her first name, but she goes by Elise. I'm almost positive that's how I named her. But it's been so long since I referred to her as Clarissa that I've been just referring to her for Elise as Elise for years that it kind of slipped my mind which one I put first. But thinking back, I'm pretty sure Elise is a middle name that she's using as her first name. That's actually pretty common in the US. I don't know about Europe, but I know a lot of people use their middle names as their first name. See, 10 through and 5. Thank you, 10. Do you know about the Hunted on Roblox, which is basically a one-to-one copy of the game? What did you think of it? Yeah, actually, I know about that. I've actually been kind of dealing with that because, yes, they did rip our game and put it up as a fan game on Roblox, which is not a problem in itself. The problem became when they started monetizing it. And it's recently come to my attention that that fan developer in particular, sold the game in a Discord server to a company. So we're kind of looking at our options to deal with that person and looking at our options to salvage that game and what we can do with it. It is a good kind of recreation of Dark Deception and Roblox. And it's obviously doing very well. I saw it's had like 11 million plays or players that have kind of tried it out in the last 2 weeks. So obviously there's a lot of demand on Roblox for Dark Deception. And you already know we have our own game in the works for Roblox that is kind of a spin-off story. So we're looking at potentially making Hunted an official game and doing both. But we're still very early in the discussion for that. And there's a lot of legal issues that need to be resolved first, both with the new company and with that the fan developer that infringed on our copyright. So it's a little bit of a complex situation, but we're trying to sort it out and make it a win for everybody. So stay tuned. I'll have more on that pretty soon. Let's see. Tony BG threw in 8. Thank you, Tony. Do the low-level minions like clowns and duckies remember their past life, and can they feel fear, maybe by a certain god? Actually, in Chapter 5, I show a lot more of each enemy's personality and the emotions that they're capable of, both in certain situations that they encounter with Doug, and also later on when, you know, things kind of hit the fan overall in the Nightmare Realms. So no, they don't remember their past lives. None of the monsters do. Agatha is kind of unique in that she has some memories of her mortal life, but in general, most of the souls that are transformed into low-level monsters don't have any memory of their previous lives. They simply exist to serve whoever their demon lord is. So they are a pawn in every sense of the way. They're not intelligent. They don't have memories. They simply have instinct and, a bloodlust, impulses that drive them, and all of them have different impulses. But they are all unified by the fact that they serve a demon. Let me see here. Sorry, I kind of lost my place again. Autumn Azure threw in 10. Thank you, Autumn. Boss phase. A single letter might join. Oh, okay. This is referring back to the alphabet letters in EE for anyone that doesn't know what this is. A single letter might join during Agatha's grounded moments, springing at the player before vanishing as she resumes teleporting. We have hit the end of the suggestion. Do these work? I mean, theoretically, these would work in gameplay, depending on how they were integrated. We can't put them into the game, but if anybody does a fan game, you could definitely propose that to them and see how it plays. I think just based on the design, it would work if it only attacks in certain situations, like you said, where Agatha's on her stunned or in a state where she can't pursue, that the alphabet letters activate. That could be based on sound. It could be based on proximity. It would just add an extra threat. They would seem more like a hazard or a trap of some sort, which is fine because, Elementary Evil doesn't really have any traps besides the Agatha portals, and those come in late in the game and that level. So, yeah, you could definitely use those as kind of a filler for the first two zones to give like an alternative threat. So, see, those would be kind of cool things. And I always challenge our modders and our fan developers to find ways to enhance and expand the Dark Deception gameplay experience. That's like a creative way for somebody to expand Elementary Evil. Rather than just doing one-to-one reproductions of the levels that we've done, which is what a lot of fan developers do, I always challenge all of them to do something more creative. Like reimagine Elementary Evil completely different, not just with, a different walls or, very minimal changes. Like, feel free to be more creative and really change things a lot, because that's what kind of keeps everything fun for the community and makes, existing levels feel fresh again. Is that even if it's not official, it's something they can go and kind of play an alternative version of a Dark Deception level. Or if you're really brave, create your own. Make your own level based on that. You don't even have to put it in Elementary Evil. You could create your own level, put the alphabet letters in it, and make an entirely new Dark Deception map. So that's one thing I'm hoping with Super Dark Deception, is that it's successful enough to hit that level editor reward tier, so that we could create a custom level editor that would literally allow you to make what you've just described. So if you wanted to create Elementary Evil inside Dark Deception or Super Dark Deception and put the alphabet letters in, you could do that. Because we could add the alphabet letters as an enemy type that you can add, and then you could create your own, Elementary Evil using the tile set chunks from that level, and then you could create it however you want, and then share it with people, and then they could play it. So that's kind of what we're hoping to do with Super Dark Deception. And it would be a great way to let the fans do exactly that. Is they can all create their own versions of our levels or create their own original maps and share it with the community. Okay, Kelvin threw in Hong Kong 20. Thank you, Kelvin. Will you update Chapter 5 Steam page after the Chapter 5 teaser? We're going to slowly update it. I know it's just got like 1 or 2 images on it right now. It's pretty vague. As we get some actual gameplay videos released, we will start to put screenshots up. I usually wait until we have a gameplay trailer because, cinematics and animated trailers are cool, but it doesn't show gameplay. So on the store page for the game, I really believe it should just be primarily gameplay shots. So we can definitely put some stuff in the description and dress up the store page, but I'll probably won't add a lot of new screenshots until we have gameplay. But I can definitely put teaser trailers onto the store page itself so people can watch that. Kame threw in €5, I think. Yep, €5. Thank you. Have you thought about bringing back the makeshift plushies, make new versions of plushies, or are there no intentions of creating any more plushies? Well, we're currently in the process of creating our own production line of Glowstick Entertainment plushies. So we want to make plushies, but we want to make them ourselves, so that we can control where they're made, how they're made, and the pricing as well. So we will still partner with Makeshift to do plushies, but we're not going to do all of our plushies through Makeshift. We'll probably do a couple special edition plushies for the game launch that will be through Makeshift, and we'll kind of plan that with them. But most of our plushies we want to do through the Glowstick Entertainment store at a price that we feel is more fair, at a higher quality level, and made in a country that we support and that we have access to their factories and things like that. So just overall, we want to improve the plushies and make it a better deal for our fan base. So just like I think Poppy Playtime kind of does their own plushie production that they sell on their website, we're kind of going to do the same thing. But we'll still have plushie partners that we work with, so you'll have other options as well. Okay, that's a member one, but I like their question, so I'll ask it. What's the progress on the second novella of Malik Archives? So the second novella is actually almost finished. It's still in production. You know, writing these things takes a while, especially with multiple novellas in the book. But it's definitely going to release this year. So if we time it right, it's probably going to be maybe closer to Tokyo Game Show around September, October. That will get the second Malik Archives novel out, the second chapter of that. So yeah, I'm excited to share that with you. We have a couple really cool new novella entries into that with introducing new characters. So I'll have more on that soon, and I'll probably share cover art. And it'll, of course, we'll start taking pre-orders on the Glowstick Entertainment store. Let's see, let me scroll down. Lucas threw in 5 reals. Thank you, Lucas. Hi, Vince. What will the upcoming Chapter 5 teaser show? Plus, who is going to edit the Chapter 5 trailer? Well, the Chapter 5 teaser is going to show basically the new horror atmosphere of Dark Deception. I mean, it's not new, but just kind of the new direction with the style of Dark Deception and how the story is going to play out and how cinematic the game is. I've kind of joked around and called Dark Deception Chapter 5 the Dark Deception movie, but it's not really that far off. That is, when you play it, it is going to feel like you're playing through a movie, except, you know, it's not just a bunch of cutscenes. You actually get to play. But it's just the story is very cinematic, so it's going to feel like you're inside a movie. I think after doing Chapter 5 and doing some of these trailers, I used to wonder how they could possibly make a movie or TV show out of Dark Deception. Like, I just thought it wouldn't translate well to film or to TV or to an anime. But I think after this, I definitely feel much better about how easy it would be to translate. It definitely feels possible now. And I think the cutscenes we've done serve as a great template for movie studios and anime studios to do something with our IP. And we actually have been approached by a couple anime studios who've done kind of open entry-level talks with us about turning Dark Deception into an anime. So yeah, those talks actually are happening in the background. And the quality that they do is very good. But I think right now it's a little premature before we get Chapter 5 out to put out like a movie or an anime or a TV show. So I definitely want to do something like that in the near future, but after we finish the game. So I feel like would be the right timing for it. And it gives anybody that comes in through the TV show or through the anime or through the movie an actual game to play. So if they've never heard of Dark Deception and they watch that movie or anime and they think it's awesome and they're like, where's the game? I want to try it out. I don't want them to come and see 4 chapters and like have to wait for Chapter 5. It's much better they arrive into the fan base and there's already a fully complete game there for them to play, including at that time Super Dark Deception will be fully complete too. So there'll be 2 complete games that they can immerse themselves in and become fans of Dark Deception. So that feels like a much better situation to me for anything like that. So I know sometimes Super or Dark Deception fans get a little impatient because they see like Bendy's getting a movie and Poppy Playtime's getting a movie, so they're kind of like, hey, Vince, where's Dark Deception's movie? And I'm like, well, we do have interest from people, but it just feels like it's not the right time, so I'm not in a rush for that. And plus, I want to let them get all the mistakes out of the way early, because, whenever they jump on something new, like Marvel Comics, DC Comics, like comic-based movies or video game-based movies, The first movies out of the gate are usually the worst. They slowly get better and figure out how to do it better as they go and make all their mistakes. So like, hey, we should respect the source material. We should cast, accurate to the characters, things like that. We should hire good writers that have actually played the game and not people who want to change everything. They slowly figure it out. So I don't mind to miss this part where they're making mistakes and not doing the best job with these translations and come in later. So we'll see. And then the last part was who's going to edit the Chapter 5 trailer. I haven't decided yet. I've edited a lot of the trailers for our games, but I feel like this one's very important, so I want to get somebody better than me to edit the trailer for Dark Deception Chapter 5. We do have 2 teams that are very capable of doing that. I just haven't decided which one to hand it off to yet, but I'll definitely make that decision at some point soon. Let's see, Unicat and Ingest through another 10. And bear with me on this one. False Q&A date. False Q&A date. Nope, postponed Q&A date. Says, you played us, bro, not cool, and you're turning into a pink slushy. No, seriously, Vince. No, seriously, your face is turning pink. And you're turning into the pink drywall. Joking, bro, you good. Hope you feel better, fam. I was like, if my face is pink, probably looks better than before. That's an improvement. I'll take it. It's like pale as hell the last few days from like coughing and just like being a human fluid machine. So I'm not going to complain if I have any form of blood flow back in my face. But yeah, surprisingly this time, usually it's my kid that brings COVID back to my house. And this time it was Penn. So Penn's the guilty one this time that infected us all. Usually it's my 8-year-old son. So he got a pass this time. But don't blame Penn. See, Marshall threw in €2. Thank you, Marshall. And asks, when are you doing another art contest? Well, I didn't have one planned, but would the community like me to do another art contest? I think we have enough image files for the game for Chapter 5 that we've already done one previously. But I mean, we can always expand it and add more. It's not like there's a limit to our art gallery. So yeah, if you'd like us to do another art contest, just be sure to say that to the mods in the GE server, and they will relay that to me, how much interest there actually is. See, Calvin threw in, no, YouTube, stop jumping. Calvin threw another Hong Kong 20. Thank you, Calvin. Will you add OST in Deadly Decadence Zone 1 and Dark Deception Plus? Was that missing? Will you add the OST in Deadly Decadence Zone 1? Zone 1 is ambient, so I mean, it's just wind noises. The 2 tracks are from the Manor Interior, Mind Your Manners and The Golden Rule. Or are you asking, sorry, I'm misinterpreting your question. You're asking me if I'm going to add a music track to Zone 1 and Deadly Decadence. It's not just going to be Silence with the Wind. I think a lot of people are asking me that now because the Fortnite map had, I think it was Mind Your Manners into the maze, and it sounds pretty cool. We haven't added that, but I could consider it. I'd have to test it out and see. I mean, I already know it fits, but maybe we could do something different and have an additional track for Deadly Decadence. So that's not a bad suggestion. It's actually worth considering because I did like how it sounded in the Fortnite map. But it's not something we were really strongly considering. I think we did a lot of changes to the exterior of Deadly Decadence and the interior. Like very, very dramatic changes to the visuals and the layout and how it looks. But I didn't actually give a lot of thought to the sound because I already liked everything that was there with the music. But it's not a terrible idea to have a pursuit track for Zone 1, like a different one or a better one. Unicat Ingest threw in another 5. Anon asks, will Super Dark Deception Mobile be tweaked to be more fair? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you mean it's unfair in the way it controls? Like the controls aren't responsive enough and you die a lot because of that? Because, I mean, as far as the gameplay goes, it's exactly the same. I think what makes it harder is the method of controls. So if the virtual controls make it feel too hard, I mean, you can always crank the difficulty down to make it easier. And then your next question is, will Super Dark Deception get a house-based level? That's possible. I mean, we did add the house characters, especially with the release of House 2 coming up. It might actually be a really cool idea to do a House 2 base level to help promote the game and get more people to try it out. I haven't mentioned that a lot, but House 2 is going to release probably in August or September. I would say October at the worst. But it's pretty much already in the porting process and it's wrapping up. So it's an amazing game. I think too many people are sleeping on it. And it's way better than the first game. So I'm really excited for people to try that. That's actually one of our biggest releases this year. I know everybody's focused on Dark Deception chapters 1 through 4 and Dark Deception chapter 5, but probably the next, and of course Super Dark Deception chapter 2. But besides the Dark Deception games, House 2 is going to be peak gaming for a lot of people if they try it out. It definitely is going to turn a lot of heads once it drops. And is Dark Deception getting a mobile port after chapter 5? No, I mean, the mobile port's going to go out the same time as all the other ports. So, yes, it is getting a mobile port, and it will go out the same time as the console ports. So, yeah, you don't have to worry. Mobile's not going to be overlooked or, deprioritized. It's going to be prioritized just as much as the console ports. In fact, Super Dark Deception is performing best on mobile and PlayStation 5. Which I've said before, and it actually surprises me because, Dark Deception, it's only on Steam. But Steam has been, a huge success for Dark Deception. But Super Dark Deception actually did not do very well on Steam. But it did amazing on PS5 and on Google Play and Apple Store. So Super Dark Deception is pretty much getting all its sales from mobile and PS5, PS4. So that surprised me a lot. I actually didn't expect those to be the main choice for most of our fan base. But I mean, that's actually, I think, good to see because it'd be bad if like all our sales were only on Steam. Unicat Ingest again. Second question, or what is that? Third, fourth. Threw in another 10. Thank you, Unicat. My stay at Monkey Business Hotel was awful. Rude service, loud music all night. Breakfast was horrid, and when I came back, the room smelled like poop. Then the second night, all I could smell was bad pizza. You forgot the ketchup and the bananas. But there's going to be a lot of new smells in Monkey Business now with the new enhanced version. So I won't expect the service to be any better. In fact, it's probably going to be a lot worse. But you'll have a lot more to do there. Autumn Azura threw another 5. Thank you, Autumn. Will there be a DLC levels for Dark Deception? Not talking about monsters and mortals. Like new monsters, new levels, as if they were part of the main story. Actually, yes. We are actually talking to some potential DLC partners for Dark Deception. We've never done a DLC for Dark Deception. We wanted to focus on finishing the game first, but now that that's kind of reaching its conclusion, finally, we are looking at what DLC content we can add to Dark Deception to make it more fun, add a lot, expand the gameplay experience, things that make sense with the Dark Deception brand that pair well with it. One of the things that we've added to chapters 1 and 4 that Super Dark Deception fans are already familiar with is the archive room. So now there's an archive room instead of the extras menu that you can go into, and you can play arcade games. You can change your character, what they're wearing. You can decorate the room with however you want based on things that you purchase through the in-game store, which is all virtual currency. It's not real money. You earn, basically you spend shards that you earn from playing the game, and then you can buy stuff in there. You can go in there and listen to all the music, including music with some of our partners like Rocket Music, did a lot of Dark Deception rap tracks. That's going to be included in there, so you can listen to a lot of the popular Dark Deception songs that are created by YouTube creators and musicians. We're also going to have all the trailers, like Movie Gallery. You can go through and watch all the trailers and teasers and cutscenes and everything like that. So it's going to be like a room where you can just, nerd out with all the Dark Deception stuff. And we'll probably do events in that room too. So we have like a plan to do kind of launch-based events and holiday-based events, things of that nature, just to kind of keep adding fun new content to Dark Deception even after Chapter 5. So we have a lot of cool stuff planned for the archive room. And DLC is one of that. So DLC will be accessed entirely through the archive room. So if you buy, I don't know, like if we do some kind of skin pack where you can put unique costumes on Doug and the enemies or Beers, you'll go into that room to activate it and equip them. If we have any kind of DLC like Monsters and Mortals where it's a custom maze themed after some IP, like we did Silent Hill. That's just a rough example. So if there was like a Silent Hill maze, you would go into the arcade to play it. It's going to be something like that. It'll be really cool. And it allows us to do a lot of fun stuff. Okay. Let's see, we have Moriboshi Archives through in 5. Thank you, Moriboshi. Hey, good to see you. I'm not home right now, so I can't stick around. Well, that's a shame. Which would you incorporate first? Dinosaur horror crossover or public domain horror? I don't know. I'm a Dino Crisis fan, so I think dinosaur horror sounds pretty awesome. I'm not sure if Capcom will ever let anybody do a Dino Crisis DLC or crossover, but that'd be pretty sweet. Let's see. Autumn Azure through another 2. Your new favorite monster jump scare update. Well, now it's called Jump Kill. They're not scaring you anymore. They're actually murdering you. So far, we haven't completed all of them, so they're still in progress, a lot of them. But out of the ones that I've seen, I really like a couple of the Agatha and Goldwatcher new kills. So I'm looking forward to sharing those with you. I said there's like 40 of them, but I think I undersold it. I think there's like actually a lot more than that I'm not counting. So it has all the original ones, but we've upgraded them to look more rated M. And then we've added on new kills for each character. I think 2 or 3 per character. So there's plenty of kills to see now in the game. See, 2 from Pirate Canvas. Hey, Pirate. How's it going, man? Hey, Vincent. What's up? Good to see you here. Thanks for stopping by the stream, dude. Happy you're popping in. And then Pirate Canvas is a content creator himself, so he has a channel. And he invited me to do a podcast with him, which I will probably be doing tomorrow night, assuming everything works out. So I'll probably tweet out something about that just to share it with people that want to listen in. We're just going to talk about games, basically. The game industry, games we like, indie games, all things gaming related. It's going to be kind of a chill, cozy chat. about gaming. Let's see, Kelvin threw in another Hong Kong 20. Thank you, Kelvin. Funny question. Does Malik have a wife? Nope, Malik does not have a wife. He has no relationship. That man is married to his work. So, Dark Deception shippers go. They're going to run wild with that. Let's see, Mitchell Flowers threw in 2. When is Super Dark Deception Chapter 2 releasing? Well, I guess I might as well answer this now. I'm actually surprised it took this long to get the where's Super Dark Deception Chapter 2 question. So the reason Chapter 2 has been kind of sliding a bit is because of, one, the mini games. There's been some bugs that we had to fix that were game breaking that we kind of uncovered with testing. Some of them very serious. So we've been fixing those, and we're also polishing up the main game, adding in some new content that we kind of wanted to throw in at the last minute, improving some cutscenes. So we're not upset about postponing it a month or two because we're very happy with how the chapter is shaping up. It adds a lot of playtime to the game, a lot of replayability, and it's probably, the best levels out of the first 8 levels. Chapter 4 has some of the best moments in the Dark Deception story up to this point before Chapter 5. So we've added a lot of new content. It doesn't have all the Dark Deception enhanced content, like I told people. It's not going to be a one-to-one clone. They're each going to kind of start to diverge from each other and go their own way. Dark Deception's going more mature. Super Dark Deception's going a bit more kind of silly and crazy, throwing in a lot of random stuff, kind of like in the spirit of the Lego adaptation of games, the way they handle things like Lego Star Wars and Lego Batman, where they add in a bunch of like silly extras. We're kind of doing that with Dark Deception to make it more fun. And the mini games are part of that. So we don't mind to give it more time in the oven to make sure it's really good and it doesn't have like a crap the bed moment at launch where it goes out and it's broken and people can't play it. So yeah, we're targeting getting it out probably at some point in July. We're giving it the extra time it needs to really be great. So it is coming very soon. So you're not going to have to wait much longer. And I think you'll see it was worth the extra time. So bear with us. Thank you all for your patience. I really love that you guys are excited about it. And we will drop the Chapter 2 trailer around the same time, the full gameplay trailer, the actual launch trailer. So then you can see kind of what I mean. There actually is a good amount of Dark Deception enhanced content in Super Dark Deception as well, just not some of the darker stuff. But you will see it in like Mascot Mayhem with the bigger zones and the additional story. The new cutscenes, we fully flesh out everything. Some new moments in Barely Buried. I really like the interpretation of the boss fights in kind of the new style of the boss fights in Torment Therapy and how we've handled those levels. And of course, we've added a lot to the Crazy Carnival boss fight to make it more exciting. We've added in like the spider clowns. We kind of changed the way that boss fight plays out. So I think you guys are going to have a great time with it. And of course, I think you'll enjoy the arcade and all the additional extras too. Okay, so next statement is Unicat and Jess for another 5. Thank you, Unicat. And Dark Deception Power Wash Simulator collab. Actually, I like that game. We want to wash all the dirt off Joy Joy Land. Also, can the bloody boy pup King mute? I don't know if Puppet King can mew, but actually a Power Wash Sim collab isn't outside the realm of possibility. Like making all the Dark Deception levels dirty and then having you control one of the Power Wash guys to go around and clean it. to earn shards or something while things are trying to kill you would be kind of silly and fun. That feels more like a super dark deception thing. Like that would work well in there than a dark deception because it's funny and silly. It just fits the vibe of super dark deception better. Let's see. Autumn Azor threw another 2. Favorite updated level after Enhanced Plus? Well, the Chapter 5 levels were already done. They're not enhanced. They basically forced us to enhance the previous levels to match them because they were so different in quality. So out of the enhanced levels, my favorite probably, I would say Elementary Evil right now. Just because I like the improvements to that one the best. See, Pirate Canvas threw in another 5. Thank you, Pirate. Would you ever consider porting Super Dark Deception for Super Nintendo cartridge? That, for me, sounds really cool because I grew up in the time of the Super NES. It was still around back then. I think as a collector item, like something to put on the shelf or display, like a Super Nintendo cartridge would be awesome as like a pack-in for like a limited edition physical collector box for Super Dark Deception. Since we are going to do a physical edition of Super Dark Deception later, that would be really awesome to have inside it. But as a game, like I don't think so because I just don't think we have that audience, the kind of retro gaming audience that goes out and buys like reproduced Super Nintendo cartridges. I personally would buy it, but you know, most of my fans, the Dark Deception fans, aren't even familiar with PS1, PS2. So it's kind of way before their time. So makes more sense as a collector's item inside the collector box or the limited edition collector box for Super Dark Deception. That I could do. Is Puppet King wet? No. I'll do the last one. What is Bierce's last name? Bierce. She goes by her last name, even though her first name is Helen. And she has a sensitivity to the name Helen. You'll find out why she calls herself Bierce instead of Helen later in Chapter 5. So if you've heard the track, Don't Call Me Helen, that's kind of a hint at that there is a reason why she doesn't go by Helen. Let's see. Zian threw another 2. Thank you, Zian. Will enhanced add more monsters interactions? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so the enhanced version of the previous levels adds a lot to the interactions and moments with the original characters from chapters 1 through 4. So it does expand the gameplay and the story in those levels considerably. Some more than others, but definitely overall a lot for the entirety of chapters 1 through 4. Obviously, you know, you're not going to walk into monkey business and have a deep conversation with the murder monkeys. So it's not like that. But there will be much more exciting moments inside monkey business now. Let's see. Okay, Autumn Azor threw another 2. Is there anything new you can reveal about Darkstar or Puppet King? At this moment in time, no. I've probably given away too much already about them. But yeah, keeping those cards very close to my chest. There will be plenty to reveal soon, and I will say in advance that I won't tell you which one, but by the end of the 2 Chapter 5 teasers, you will get a better look at Darkstar and Puppet King. Let's see. Kelvin threw in another Hong Kong 20. Thank you, Kelvin. Are there any drone traps in Prison Panic? No, not drones. But there are a lot of traps in Prison Panic. Probably the most of any level. I think I've said that before. Pretty sure I did. But yeah, a lot of Prison Panic is traps. That's not the only enemy. There's a lot of enemies too. It's just Prison Panic is chaos. But you'll see fairly soon what I mean. See, the Ghost threw in another 2. Thank you, Ghost. See, why add clown spiders to the Goliath clown fight? Oh, it's not just the fight. Clown spiders are now present in all zones of Crazy Carnival. They're a normal enemy now. And that's in Super Dark Deception as well. Unicat Ingest threw in another 5. Thank you, Unicat. Joy Lucky asks, is there any update on the SAG strikes? Yes, they are over finally. So SAG has finally agreed to terms with the large AAA game studios like EA and Activision and all that, including the sound studio that handles our sound work, Formosa, which was one of their listed, I guess, companies that they were striking against because they work with a lot of those big AAA studios. So now we are able to work with our actors again through Formosa, through these the fact that they finally signed a deal with each other. And that deal offers them protection. If anyone doesn't know why they were striking, they were trying to get protection for voice actors from generative AI. Of course, their interest is more in the top tier voice actors, you know, the talent that really pulls in a lot of money because they get a cut of that money that those actors earn, and they have to pay a membership fee, including like health benefits and things of that. So they have to pay a lot of money to SAG. And obviously the more successful voice actors contribute more money. So I was unfortunate that a lot of those entry-level voice actors and kind of lower tier beginning voice actors, they're not famous yet, or they're not high up on the ladder, that they couldn't work for a year because of that. Because while they're on strike, all SAG members are not allowed to work or record for any games unless that studio has signed a kind of temporary or interim agreement with SAG. It got very complicated. I know legal stuff is kind of boring, but this is kind of what was blocking everybody. And your next question is, will we get the base game updates and 2 new game modes after Roblox Monsters and Mortals? So I can't promise anything like that this year. Like I said, that's all dependent on the level of support that Monsters and Mortals gets. We kind of have to see how the Doors and Piggy DLC performs. I mean, we are giving it away for free, but it requires the base game. So the idea is that that will draw on more Roblox players to support the game and increase the player count, which improves the player experience for everybody because you don't have to wait as long for matches if there's more people. So we're going to test that out and see. And we brought in 2 of the most popular Roblox games. They're still very popular. I saw Piggy's doing something with Megan, the movie, to promote it right now. And Doors always has a lot of players. So it's just a matter of, will they transition from Roblox to something outside Roblox? That's kind of the big question. So if that does really well and we get a lot of support, then we can definitely look at doing base game updates and adding new modes. We have a list of stuff that the Monsters and Mortals players have requested. But right now, all we can focus on is new content that keeps the game alive and also fixing any major bugs. We can't fix every single little bug, especially little minor ones, but we can do our best to make sure there are no big bugs and nothing game breaking. See, Unicat, sorry, wrong one. We got Deedon threw in $3. Thank you, Deedon. Why are you scared of announcing game releases? Oh, you must be new. That's because I'm always wrong. It's the simple explanation for that. Every game release date that leaves my lips is instantly wrong and delayed. And that's not intentional. That's not by choice. It's just how it always works out. So I figure now I might as well not even say release dates until the game is actually done because I'm far too optimistic. I always make predictions that are way too optimistic. and then it gets, well, what fans will call it, they'll call it delayed. But what it really is the date I said was wrong, and it needed a longer development time than that. So I prefer to just be quiet on release dates now until it's actually, ready to actually launch. Even then, there's a lot of things that come in, like delays on approval from Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo, things outside my control that I don't have any say over. So it's not just our internal development that ruins release dates, it's also our partners. How fast they approve our releases and allow us to put it on their store. So there's a lot of moving wheels in the background, and I don't control all of them. So, yeah, I figure I'm doing the fan base a favor by not telling release dates. When it gets close, I will hype the hell out of it and get you guys all excited and drop. Like when you see me actually put out a date, like not, early June or early July, when I actually say, hey, this is coming out July 10th, that usually is the date that's real. So don't pay attention until I actually say a real date. Let's see, Shadow X Acno threw in 2, thank you. By 13th level, you mean 13th portal? Ah, yes. We'll go with that. Unicat Ninjas threw another 5. Doug has once again failed. I'm struggling with that one. Mrs. Mzathariman class by turning in 2 it's way too late for this. Spungjar and Bob Doodle. What? And peeked his nose and ran to the forest with the unicorns. All right, I can do the last parts. My eyes are way too squinty right now. Let's see, and Cook threw in 2. Is there a chance that Dark Deception Chapter 5 comes out this year? There's always a chance it can come out any year. I can't say the exact year it's coming out because I don't want to kill the Grand Theft Auto 6 before Dark Deception Chapter 5 crowd's hopes. So I will say it will definitely come out either in 2025 or 2026. So people that want it before before Grand Theft Auto 6 have hope, and then the people that want to see Grand Theft Auto 6 beat us so they can laugh and say that a lot, they have hope too. I'm not here to dash anyone's hope, but it is going to come out. Let's see, Krakow64 threw in another 2 pounds. Thank you, Krakow. Has Phantom Malik been buffed in the Chapter 1 to 4 update? Well, I mean, he's visually buffed with a new model that looks awesome, but yes, he is a bit more aggressive, but we're kind of keeping him pretty similar. There's a reason to his behavior that, you'll kind of learn about as you go through Chapter 5. See, Jayhawk threw in 5. Thank you, Jayhawk. We know the mannequin have no voices, but what do the mannequins sound like? And who has the scariest Frezzy mode that we know of? Well, I mean, I can't reveal what the mannequins sound like, but I can say mostly what you're going to hear is their movement. That's probably going to be the scariest sound you hear coming from them, is how they move and the sounds that makes. And of course, there's several different types of mannequins, so they're all going to make fairly similar sounds, but also uniquely different. And then, let's see, Kelvin threw another 50. Thank you, Kelvin. According to the enemy characterization in Chapter 5, the Puppet King controls the puppets and is also a puppet. Does that mean that Darkstar is the warden and also a prisoner? No, Darkstar and Puppet King are not really related with each other. So they are separate. The generals are all kind of separate, doing their own thing. They don't really cross over with each other in that sense, whereas like one is controlling the other. see, Zian threw in another 2. Thank you again, Zian. Any new waifu in Chapter 5? Oh, man. Chapter 5 may be a little bit lacking in the waifu category. I think right now everybody's made Darkstar as the primary waifu, but, well, I mean, depending on your taste, there could be others, but not going to promote that. We're not making Waifu Simulator 5. So, yeah. I'll kind of leave it to you guys as to what qualifies, if that's, you know, your focus. I'm not here to judge. Unicat Ninjas threw in another 5. Thank you, Unicat. Wait, whoops. Right as I said that, YouTube shifted the page. Wow. Okay, way more than I thought. I thought it was just like a little bit, but it's like 3 pages worth. Okay. I'm eating bread, bruh. Oh no, it burdened food, and I'm turning into emo. Now we look like more of a scrubberino, and it's your fault. Wow. I always wonder how you come up with this stuff so fast. Didn't you say you were going to write something? I think a previous stream you said you were going to write like a fanfic or something. Or do a new dance of some sort. I'm still waiting. Adam Azur threw in another 2. Which will be more epic? Prison Panic or Holiday Horror? Honestly, I think they're both very epic, just in a different way. They both have a very, very different style. That's just the nature of Puppet King and Darkstar, that they handle things very differently. So I think a lot of people have kind of guessed by Darkstar's personality what her level's going to be kind of like. Even though I haven't revealed much, I think a lot of people have kind of guessed accurately on some things that I've seen in the online discussions. Puppet King has an entirely different vibe with the mall, and you know, the whole Christmas theme, and his wide use of a wide variety of different puppets. Darkstar also has a wide variety of kind of minions at her disposal, but they are very different than the mindless puppets that Puppet King controls. So which one's more epic? It really is a matter of opinion. They're both definitely very epic. It's just going to be a matter of your taste, which one you find scarier or which one you think is more action-packed. That remains to be seen. I'll see what the Dark Deception community thinks once it's actually in front of them. Unicat Ingest through another 5. Jason asks, what changes can we expect for Stranger Sewers, if you can give us a little tease? Well, one of the big feedback we got from Stranger Sewers is that the 2 zones were too similar. So we've definitely made the entire sewer a little bit more distinguished between the different portions. There was a lot of things that people liked about Super Dark Deception with the escape from Doom Ducky, like the flashing alarms. They thought it had a better atmosphere, so we've kind of incorporated that and then scaled it up a lot to make it scarier than Super Dark Deception. So those are just some examples. We've kind of completely revamped that boss fight to make it more exciting. And there's a few more horror moments with the Dread Duckies just walking through the sewers. So I am going to, I said online that I'm going to start posting screenshots of chapters 1 through 4 after we had revealed all the character model upgrades. I'm still going to do that, and I'm going to do it very soon. I can't say I'm going to go in order. I may just kind of randomly share them out of order, but you will get a look at some screenshots of Stranger Sewers in that mix before we release chapters 1 through 4. So chapters 1 through 4, the enhanced version, is actually going to be a very big, major release. It's not just a small update. It's almost like a remake of the game. So it's going to be big. It's going to have a lot of stuff. I'm actually excited to see you guys try that first before Chapter 5. see. Leon threw in 11.99. Thank you, Leon. Is Demon God... I don't know why when I said that I get like Ashley's voice in my head. Is Demon God the nemesis looking creature? No. That is not the Demon God. Krakow64 threw in £5. Thank you. Are the new or elementary evil enemies the ghost children from Zone 2 or something new? And are they balanced for being only level 2? Do other levels have new enemies as well? Actually, that's a very good guess. Yes, one of the new enemies in Elementary Evil are the ghost children from Zone 2, the ones you saw pounding on the windows. They no longer just stay in the classroom. They actually come out to help Agatha, and they will be an obstacle in the level. Let's see. There are other enemies and obstacles as well, but they are one of the major new ones. And do other levels have new enemies as well? Let me think. Yes. Let's see. Kyoko threw in 5. Thank you, Kyoko. Will Darkstar televise Prison Panic through TVs in the level or something like that along those lines? Well, I can't really reveal anything about Prison Panic, but I've shared those concept art a long time ago. I think it's like a year ago. I shared Prison Panic concept art, and there are a lot of studio equipment visible in those concept art. Like it shows some TVs, some production parts. So I think along with jail cell or block cells. So I think people have kind of figured out that it is going to have something to do with kind of a production environment. And then Darkstar herself, if you look at her nature and her personality, which I've kind of revealed a little bit in Super Dark Deception with the Steam cards, it is kind of described there. So I think kind of people pieced it together with the little bit I've given, like what that level's going to feel like and play like. And then I did a while back some green screen work that I shared. We did like a whole week of green screen work in a motion capture studio. So that was also related to Prison Panic. So it's all going to come together. It will be very, like I said, it's very different from Holiday Horror. Unicat and Jess threw in 2 again. Thank you. DD West asks, will clown spiders be in Crazy Carnival Zone 2? Yes, clown spiders are present in most of Crazy Carnival. There are a normal enemy now, along with the clown gremlins. Shayla threw in another 5. Thank you, Shayla. Will we learn about how E ended up in the Nightmare Realms in Chapter 5? Yeah, so you'll get a lot of the backstory of E, including how her journey ends in Chapter 5. Let's see. Unicat threw in another 5. Thank you, Unicat. And you've got another word riddle for me. Okay, I'm going to do my best, but... starting to see explosion. The DD Russ are kicking bruh. Oh, hey, 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 hey. Then I turn into Maricution Black in strop outfit all noodly, yo. I'm doing my best, y'all. Bear with me. Capybara Gamer threw in another 5 reals. Thank you, Capybara. How's the second book coming or going? And when can we expect the next Q&A? How's development with Chapter 5 going? What's the best CPU for Chapter 5? Is Chapter 5 planned for 2025? All right, well, let me work my way through that. Second book, like I said, it's going really well. It will release this year. It's already kind of wrapping up on the first few passes of the novellas. We're just kind of doing kind of the final polish passes on the writing, but it's mostly already done. I said to expect it probably around September, October. Still needs a couple more runs to polish, or months to polish things. And that kind of lines up really well with some of our releases. So yeah, definitely coming this year. When can we expect the next Q&A? Probably after Chapter 2 releases, I think. I'd probably give it a month just so we have some new stuff to talk about, especially after the chapter. I think probably late July, early August makes the most sense because we'll have the first Chapter 5 teaser out, Super Dark Deception Chapter 2. It's very likely that it'll be out. So we'll have a lot of stuff to talk about, and I can kind of hear your reactions to those two things. And we'll be getting close on House 2 and potentially Dark Deception Minecraft and Dark Deception Chapters 1 through 4 enhanced. So that'll be kind of lining up right before Tokyo Game Show. So yeah, seems like a good window to have that another live stream. And the best CPU for Chapter 5, I mean, that's a matter of opinion. I'm an NVIDIA guy, so I'm going to recommend anything GeForce. But, you know, AMD is valid as well. I think they have some really good models that can easily handle Dark Deception. You know, any card that can handle Unreal Engine 5 is probably the best CPU to use. Definitely don't want to play the game on lowest settings. You know, you don't want to be in that position because it sacrifices a lot visually to get it to run at lowest settings if it's like a potato PC. But not everyone has like a beast computer. So, you know, I think anything like, I wouldn't say like GeForce 30 series can run UE5 that well. It can run it, but it heats up a lot, I've noticed. 40 series is pretty good, pretty stable, pretty solid. You know, they have the new cards now. So, yeah, it's just a matter of opinion. You can do the AMD equivalent as well. Or if you do have a potato PC, just play it on PlayStation 5. If you don't have a PlayStation 5, Switch 2. If you don't have a Switch 2, Xbox Series X. You know, it'll run smoothly on all of those. And if you're a mobile gamer, I would say any phone within the last, let's see, what year? I would say anything back to like 2020 can run it pretty well. You know, if you've got a phone from more than 5 years ago, then, you know, I can't promise anything. You may have to run it at very low settings, which will, of course, cause you to have to sacrifice a lot visually. But we'll see. And the Chapter 5 release date, I've already answered that one. 2025, 2026. Some people say 2030. One person said 2078. The real question is it before or after Grand Theft Auto 6? That's what has to be answered. Kyoko threw another 5. Thank you, Kyoko. In the E-Note scenes of Super Dark Deception, where are the soul shards? Also, has Mascot Mayhem Zone 1 and Zone 2 been increased in size in addition to Zone 3? Well, you'll notice Elise is not trying to collect the ring pieces. She has her own objective, which is to escape the Nightmare Realms. So she's not going to collect soul shards because she's not trying to break the barrier on the ring pieces. Doug does that. Elise is just trying to survive and find the exit door. And then find out some meaning to her situation. So, yeah, soul shards weren't really important to put into the cutscenes with her. Just because we're focusing on the story, her story, and the characters involved in that story, rather than her collecting shards, which she's not really interested in. Let's see. Automazor threw another 2. What is the most changed level? Probably... It's kind of a tie between Deadly Decadence and Elementary Evil. If you're talking about enhanced. Let's see. Deedon threw in another 5. Thank you again. How did the Super Dark Deception launch go from September 2024 to, let's see, how did the Super Dark Deception launch go from September 2024 to never? Why was it a good idea to make a remake of a game you're not finished creating? Well, there's a little snarkiness to that comment, but I'm going to answer it. So, Super Dark Deception is what we call a stopgap game. So when we have a game that we're working on that's going to take a lot of time to finish, and fans want new content, but it's going to be 3 years, 4 years before you're done with it, you can't just leave them with nothing. So you make a game that's smaller that you can put out, and it keeps them, one, excited about Dark Deception. Two, gives them something to play while they wait. There's plenty of other games, but it's always fun to get new Dark Deception content. And they're made by 2 different teams. So a lot of these fans that attack us and say things that sound like that, they seem to think that like one team is making everything. Like there's the 4 of us are making all these games, and that when we work on Super Dark Deception, it means we've stopped working on Dark Deception Chapter 5 and Monster Mortals, like it's a red light, green light situation. So green light on Dark Deception Chapter 5 means red light on the other 2. That's not how it works. We have different teams for each game. Completely different teams. Each one with people specialized for that type of game. So everyone on Super Dark Deception is a completely new hire. We have 3 programmers on Super Dark Deception. Nixon is not even attached to that game. They're completely 3 different programmers. The art team is completely different. Nobody from Dark Deception is working on Super Dark Deception on the art team. And including the musicians. All the musicians on Super Dark Deception are different. None of them have worked on Dark Deception, and Dan is not working on Super Dark Deception. So that is why, because we are building the world of Dark Deception, and our fans want more than one game. Some fans only want one game, but a lot of fans, hundreds of thousands of fans, want more than just Dark Deception. So each time we put out a game, it expands, brings in new people, the fan base grows, and the games perform better. You see that a lot, not just with us, but with Poppy Playtime. I mean, they have a movie coming before the game's even done. Five Nights at Freddy's put out a bunch of like Streets of Rage style beat 'em up games before Security Breach. Bendy put out a mobile game before Bendy and the Ink Machine was done. That's normal. A lot of games have stopgap games. That's just a normal practice in the industry. That's basically because fans don't want to wait too long for something, and you have to kind of fill that time to keep their interest. So that's why. And this won't be the last time we do it. We'll always have something new in the background being worked on that reaches out to new fans, expands the Dark Deception universe, offers new types of gameplay within Dark Deception. And that's the only way to kind of grow the fan base and grow Dark Deception as a brand. Let me see. Pell threw in 2 reals. Thank you, Pell. Will Enhanced Plus be released in July? Enhanced Plus. So probably that's looking more around, I would say like August or September, like before Tokyo Game Show, because that's what basically we're going to be showing at Tokyo Game Show. Okay, Marshall threw in 2 euros. Thank you, Marshall. Have you seen the Holiday Horror Super Dark Deception possible gameplay videos? Yeah, I didn't see videos, but actually, wait, I did. I saw an animation, but I've mostly seen screenshots. And I will say, like, the fan that did them, that's a pretty good visualization of what Holiday Horror could look like but it's actually the real one is very different. So I think it's cool to see like an alternative version of what that might be. Any awesome 2D pixel art is always cool to see. So we don't have many fans that do like 2D fan games. Most of them do 3D. See, Unicat Ninjas threw another 5. I was born to be Santa Claus talking to a frog, but was forced to eat computers, use Microsoft, drink coffee, and set 1,000 alarms. You feel. I feel you, Unicat. Thank you again. Joshua threw in 2. And does Dark Star dancing around while chasing Doug? That'd be funny if that was what it was. No, she doesn't dance around while chasing Doug. But that would be hilarious if that's the way we had gone. Okay, Jasmine threw in 20 euros, but there's no question. So thank you for your contribution. If you have a question, just ask it in the member chat and I'll still answer it. Joshua threw in 2. Will Garden of Ban be in Monsters and Mortals? We're not really sure what's going to be in Monsters and Mortals beyond Piggy and Doors. We just kind of... That's pretty much it for 2025 because it's end of year. We have to still kind of evaluate what's next for 2026 for Monsters and Mortals. I think a lot of that will be based on community feedback, what fans want. Basically, what seems like a good DLC partner, something popular that has a lot of fan interest. So, no way of telling that's going to be at this point. But I guess like probably pretty soon we'll make a decision on that. But not Garden of Ban in particular. I just mean like in general. Let's see. Gaming Scrooge threw in 25. Thank you, Gaming Scrooge. Hey, Vince, did you check out the new Deltarune chapters? Any thoughts about a Super DD crossover with this franchise? I haven't played Deltarune yet. I've only played, Undertale. So if Toby Fox ever wanted to do a crossover, yeah, of course I'd listen. I mean, those are very well-loved games. So I'd always be open to it, especially for, like, Super Dark Deception. But I think I've never seen him do a collaboration, so I don't know if he would even be interested in something like that. I could be wrong. Maybe he has done one, but I haven't seen one with like a game. I think he has done collaborations with like physical products, like merchandise, maybe a board game or something. Seems like he has a pretty close relationship with Nintendo, though, so maybe he would do something with Nintendo first. Although I think, thinking about it, his game's all about not killing, and then now Dark Deception has an M rating. You probably wouldn't see that as like a good pairing. See, Joshua threw in 2. Thank you, Joshua, again. Will there be a plushie of you and Penn? Maybe at some point, if like the Monsters and Mortals fans want a plushie of the Glowstick Vince and Pen characters, yeah, we could definitely do that. Okay. Did that jump again? Oh, previously I had 20 from Jasmine, but she didn't put a message. But I have a follow-up message. So, which character are you most proud of? That's actually a good question. Which one am I most proud of? Probably Bierce. I know some people will be like, what? But I don't know. I just like how crazy she is and the way she talks and her personality. And I love how every time Carolyn comes in to record from her, she's like, who talks this way? And I'm just like, Bierce does. So I don't know. It's always, she's like the most fun character to record for. So I really enjoy Bierce a lot. See, Unicat threw another 5, and she's got another word riddle for me. Was driving my car. Yeah, I was all nobody late to work. Wait, no, I took the wrong exit into olive tomato land and turned into a prune. Ah, prune typing noises. There you have it. Boogeyman Toilet 3 and 3. Thank you, Boogeyman. Will there be any more Demon God teasers? Yeah, I mean, we're gonna probably hint at the Demon God more as we get to like the gameplay trailers, the final trailer. Not before then. I'm not gonna like drop too many teasers about him because you're gonna learn a lot about that in chapter 5. So you'll just get glimpses of it in the upcoming trailers, and I won't say which ones, but probably the gameplay. See, Croco64 threw another 2. Thank you again. Do clown spiders have abilities in zone gameplay? They're more of a pursuit unit, kind of similar to the murder monkeys. So their ability is that they're stronger in the boss fight. So they take more hits to kill, to disable them. So they become a little bit of a nuisance and an obstacle while fighting the clown Goliaths because you can't just kill them so easily like the clown gremlins. And they move a little bit faster too. See, Boogeyman Toilet 3 and 3. When is the next Q&A? Earlier I said it's probably going to be late July or early August because I want to do it after the Chapter 5 teaser and Super Dark Deception Chapter 2. And that's also kind of like right before House 2. So we have like a really busy release schedule coming for the next 3 months. I think we've got like 3 or 4 releases coming in that span of time from July to October. So it's going to be busy. We'll have plenty to talk about. And of course, that's all building up to like later with Piggy and Doors DLC for Monsters Immortals and potentially Chapter 5. See, Unicat Ninjas threw another 5, and this time it's a question. Legend Life asks, when the Gold Watchers originally talked, did they have more fleshed out personality? Do they have scrapped voice lines? No. No, they don't have any scrapped voice lines. They have a lot of scrapped laughter and chuckles because we just did too many. And they used to make hissing noises, which was kind of weird, so we cut that. It was kind of like a weird, breathy kind of hissing, and it just didn't fit them in gameplay, so we kind of cut that out. And they never really originally talked. They would kind of vocalize maybe a word or two while sneaking up on you, but they didn't have like a personality or a discussion with you. They're basically golden golems. So they don't really have any conscious thought of that level. Let's see, Alex threw in 5. Thank you, Alex. Are there white versions of the mannequins? If so, can they be called White Walkers? I see what you did there. Okay. White Stalkers. Yeah, there are white versions of the mannequins. I've mentioned that, but I've said that the white mannequins are very different from the red mannequins that I've shown, the red Stalkers. So I don't have a name for them. So if you want to call them White Walkers, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. They don't exactly like walk around that way, but I just like the name, so go with it. Boogeyman Toilet threw another 8. Thank you, Boogeyman. What sort of relationship does Malik have with Demon God? Who voices Demon God? Will we fight him? Is there a rank of demon above Elite Demon? Okay, I was like, finally, there's got to be one question in there I can answer. These are all like spoiler questions, so I can't answer them. So Malik with Demon God, can't answer that. Who voices Demon God? I can't say if he has a voice. Will we fight him? Maybe? Is there a rank of demon above elite demon? Yes. Demon god. Misael Hernandez threw in 5. Thank you, Misael. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Will Chapter 5 be available on Steam Deck? And will the glitches of Chapters 1 through 4 be fixed? Yes, actually, we've already fixed a lot of the bugs that people complain about in Chapters 1 to 4 years ago. We just haven't been able to push those fixes due to the nature of our project and everything being kind of packed together, unable to separate Chapter 5 content, and we didn't want it to be ripped. So when we release the enhanced version, those fixes will be included. And yes, it will be Steam Deck compatible. Unicat Ingest threw in another 5. This one's kind of half. No, there's not a question. It is another word riddle. So let me see. Yeah, in a previous stream, I said I'd start making fan content again, but I've been busy with work and school, and I just got my associates. Well, congratulations. I'm very proud of you. Glad that you made it through. But I'll be back. Just watch. Don't give up. Definitely enjoy seeing your stuff. And congrats again on getting your associate's degree. It's hard to get any degree. So, you know, that's something that I hope that you can go into a profession that you enjoy with that. I don't know what your degree's in. Is it for something gaming related or entertainment related? If so, then put it to work, and I hope we see some new content from you. Jayhawk threw in 10. Okay, so I meant nightmare mode. Which monster had the scariest one? Okay. And what can we expect from Torment Therapy? Sorry, my ability to speak is deteriorating. What can we expect from Torment Therapy and Barely Buried from Enhanced? So, nightmare mode, which one is the scariest? I assume you mean out of the enhanced levels. So, I mean, probably Lucky, just because he's the most aggressive while in the nightmare mode. Let me see. What can we expect from Torment Therapy and Barely Buried? Well, I mean, besides the obvious fixes to the issues with the old design, just a lot more engaging boss fights, better gameplay, visually revamped environments. Like, we've completely rebuilt the hospital lobby. I'm just trying to think of some key changes from each one. We've improved the Barely Buried cabin a lot and improved the caves, but that's more of a visual change. Yeah, most of the enhancements, besides the gameplay, are visual. Let's see, Zian threw another 2. Can you name old levels that get new enemies? Let's see. Old levels with new enemies. Well, the first one is Elementary Evil. Kind of going through them. Crazy Carnival. Maybe Deadly Decadence, if that what we put in counts. Mascot Mayhem. I think that's it as far as new enemies. Okay, Boogeyman Toilet threw in another 3. Will there be Chapter 5 Easter eggs in Chapter 5? Yes, everything in Chapter 5 is an Easter egg. No, I'm kidding. I know what you mean. Yeah, there will actually be some Easter eggs. They're not going to be particularly related to Chapter 5 entirely, like hidden lore or anything like that. But there will be like some just kind of fan service Easter eggs, like little things. Like I've mentioned, we have some special guests in Prison Panic as prisoners. We'll probably have some stuff related to House hidden throughout the game as kind of a crossover type thing. We may have some other guest appearances. Uh, maybe some old Dark Deception tributes to like the previous versions of Dark Deception. There's a lot of like little things like that you'll be able to find as Easter eggs that are more just fan service type stuff. Misael threw in another 5. Is the first book, Dark Deception, the Malik Archive, still available? I did buy it on your website, the signed one, but never received it. Well, it depends when you bought it. I assume, is it under your name or under a different name? I can look up and check on your order and see if it already went out or if it was one of the boxes returned to us. We have gotten some packages shipped back to us because they weren't picked up from the location they were shipped to, either from the home or from the post office. So if it turns out your package is sitting there with the other returned packages that need to go out, then I'll contact you and let you know what the new tracking number for that is. But yeah, the book is still available, so I'll check up on that. Let me just make a little note real quick. Okay, gave myself a little reminder so don't forget. Okay. UBF 13 through in 5. Thank you, UBF. How come there isn't a title card for Barely Buried like the other levels have? I thought there was in the beginning on the exterior. I could be wrong. It might be because of the intro sequence that it got overlooked. Well, it has one now, so don't worry. Let's see, Shayla threw in 2. Thank you, Shayla. Will Dark Deception run on PS4? Yes, it will. Unicat Ninjas threw in 2. So my 3060 Ti won't work for Chapter 5. Wah. It will work. It will just... the 3060 is not bad. I mean, that's the base 30 series card. But it will probably have some visual sacrifices. Like, you're not going to be able to run everything maxed out with the 30 series. But we'll see. I do have a 3060 on my side. It's not a Ti, so your card's actually better than mine. I can test it and see how it works. But it does run, so you don't have to worry about that. Oh, you got a follow-up. Another 5 and another word riddle. So putting on a silk glove, oh no, it turned into a spider silk, and I'm turning into a tarantula with craggly legs and ramen hair. Dies. The end. Thank you, Rena Cat. Jasmine threw in another €5. Thank you again, Jasmine. Do you still have plans with Evans? Yes. We actually have some Evans content coming for Super Dark Deception and also for Roblox. So we are doing kind of a little spinoff with him that will kind of give a little bit of his backstory. Oh, and there is a mini game in... Wait, is that Evans? Maybe it is. I'll check up on that. Wait, I think we have a mini game in Dark Deception that uses him. See, Dark Spray threw in another 200 ARS. Thank you, Dark Spray. Will the other puppets in Holiday Horror be like the Red Stalker's colors? Or, sorry, red colors, or will they be different? Well, there's only 2 types, white and red. And then after BB, will we have the power to cause explosions like Trigger Teddies? No, that's because Mama Bear didn't have a ring piece of her own. See, Krakow64 threw in 5. Thank you, Krakow, again. Will a teaser show mannequins flashing red to become stalkers like in the book? Thanks for answering the other questions, Vince. Have a good night. Oh, flashing red. No. The book's a little bit different than the game. Similar, but a little bit different. See, Lonely Mage threw in 2. Any hint on the new enemy in Mascot? Mascot Mayhem. Oh, not yet. It's just a variation of Lucky. So, of his clones. So you'll see probably pretty soon when I start sharing the screenshots. Misael Hernandez threw another 5 again. Thank you so much. I bought it on June 10th. Never received a tracking number or data delivery, only receipts under my name and email. Oh, okay. So you put it in about 11 days ago. Okay. So in that case, it probably hasn't shipped yet. So it will ship pretty soon. I would look for it next week. You'll probably get a tracking number. Let's see, Mr. put in 2. Thank you, Mr. Hi, Vince. Any changes to Mega Mama in Barely Buried for Ian Plus? I don't know. Let me think. Is there any changes to her? There's a change to how the boss fight plays out, but there's not any change to her except for her character model. We kind of rebuilt, well, not rebuilt, but enhanced the existing Mama Bear. That mutated version of Mama Bear. Let's see, Timothy threw in about 3 Canadian. Thank you, Timothy. It's not much, but you and the team take care, Vince. Hey, every little bit matters, and it's the thought that counts. So thank you for helping us out and the contribution. See, the Ghost threw another 5, including the OST. We haven't heard yet how many there are in total for Dark Deception. Honestly, I lost count. I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head how many tracks there are. Dan's a machine, so he's been cranking them out. I think last I checked, it looked like there were 80 different songs. I'm really not sure anymore, so I'd have to go back and count. But it's a lot. Let's see, Void Comics threw in 20. Thank you, Void. Will Chapter 5 be the final chapter? Yes, for the first game. Or will there be a sequel? Yes, there will be a sequel. And thanks for making such a fun game. It helped me bond with my little cousin. Well, that's awesome to hear. I love to hear that the game Dark Deception or Super Dark Deception can help anyone have something in common with a family member. I think one of my good friends had that too. He has a son. And it's not a lot of things they can talk about, but the son likes Dark Deception a lot. And he's my like high school friend, so now he gets cool dad points because he can tell the kid hi from me. I was like, okay, glad I can help. And then now he knows what Dark Deception is. Gave him an excuse to play it. Before he had no idea what I'm working on. Let's see, Krakow64 threw in £2. Thank you, Krakow, again. By the way, are there more Monsters and... Or sorry, not Monsters and Mortals. Mascot Mayhem Zone 3 claw traps in the maze? Oh, no. That claw trap in the beginning, that's just there in the beginning. There's other issues in Zone 3 besides that. You'll see what I mean pretty soon. Marshall JP threw in €2. Will there be a Titanic-sized enemy in Chapter 5? Yeah, there's some kaiju-sized enemies in Chapter 5, yes. But where? So that's it for the Super Chats. Thank you all for everyone that asked the questions. Those were a lot of great questions. Sorry to anyone that, hit me with Chapter 5 questions that I can't answer. Wish I could answer them, but I can't. We got to keep some surprises. So I'm going to go to the member questions, and then, of course, we have our email questions. I'm not going to forget about you guys. Oops. Let me sign back in. Bear with me. Okay. So let me go through the member questions real quick and just see if anything from our YouTube channel members is in there. If anyone hasn't typed anything, now's your chance. Oh, we have one person, Kevin. He's just saying, hi, I'm new to the Dark Deception universe. Welcome, Kevin. Thank you for being a member and for playing our game. I hope you're enjoying it so far. And if you're new and you just came in, you came in at the right time, because finally everything's kind of reaching a finishing point. Let's see, Monochromia says, I wonder what's going on with Chapter 5 in order for this game to be rated M. Mostly it's just the content got pretty dark. So it was going to get rated M anyway. So we felt we might as well push the boundaries on the kills and things like that. Like we were like, just like make everything rated M if we're going to get it anyway. So it doesn't make sense to be, you know, teen rated with the jump scares and everything, and then have mature rated concepts with Doug and his family and the other characters. So we just felt like we should just do it all the way without going too extreme. We don't want to like gross people out or make it so their parents won't let them buy the game, or so that they're too scared to play the game. That's another common one. So we kept it reasonable. It's definitely mature, but it's not like over the top gore fest. Let's see, sorry, I'm trying to see one thing real quick. Oh, I'll get back to that. Okay, let me see what else we have. Says I'm making, Demon Eye says I'm making my own DK fan-made game in Java. Minecraft. Okay. That should be pretty cool then whenever it's done, hopefully. Somebody says, I can definitely see Chapter 5. Monochromia says, I can definitely see Chapter 5 being out before Sonic 4 releases in 2027. Possible. Scrolling down, bear with me. I'm actually very interested to see what the reaction will be to Chapter 5 Teaser 1. Hopefully that won't be too much longer, but still going to come pretty soon. But I'm kind of, since that's the first one, I'm kind of interested to see what the Dark Deception community thinks of the new kind of tone. I know a lot of people are really excited that Lucky's going to say swear words now. Somebody said, or Bogeyman says, how do you manage to stay awake? It's 4:36 a.m. for me right now. I don't know either. I've kind of polished off my tea, so that's the last of my caffeine. It's like 3:11 a.m. here, so I'm officially past the warranty. Gonna start to melt on screen at some point, but I still got a little bit of gas in me. I'm still doing okay. Let's see, Fascia says, has a question. Is Agatha the child that was sacrificed by Bierce? Yes. So Agatha is the maid's daughter that was sacrificed by Bierce. And you will actually get to see more about that in Chapter 5. Like, we're going to go into Bierce's closet and see all her skeletons as well. See, Regvox says, no question here, just big hugs for you and the team. Thank you, man. I need all the hugs I can get. It's a grind. Let's see, is Let me see. Capybara Gamer is Wicked Way is going to take as long to beat as the other Chapter 5 levels. For those that don't know, Wicked Ways is the S rank path level, the secret one. So you only get that access to that level if you get all the S ranks. It is a fairly long level, but it's very, very different from the other levels in that it has a lot more story play out inside that level. That's not saying that the other levels are light on story. They're not. It's just that one is very heavy story. Or very, see? The gas is running out. It's very heavy on story compared to the others. But they all are loaded with lore and events. How many times, Argo says, how many times will Lucky swear in Mascot Mayhem? Well, here's the fun thing. The mature rating by the ESRB is unlimited swearing. Whereas the rated R rating, this is speaking purely of US, rating systems. I can't speak for other countries, but in the US, rated R for films, you're allowed to have 399 swear words before it gets upgraded to NC-17. So there have literally been horror movies where they stopped exactly at 399 swear words, and it was still rated R. But I looked it up in the ESRB. There's no limit on swearing, so I could have Lucky swear the entire level, and it won't change the rating. I'm not going to do that because that would be ridiculous, but it would be allowed. It would be permitted. See. Marshall has a question. Can you reveal to us the name of a Chapter 5 enemy without any context? Just the name, someone we haven't seen before. Let us theorize. Fortunately, I can't. Not yet. I'm sorry, you'll have to theorize about other stuff for now. I think after the teaser trailers, you'll have plenty to theorize about. Demon Eye will chapters 1 through 4 Enhanced Plus come out this year? Yes. UBF 13, have you decided what track will be in the first teaser trailer? It's actually an original score by Dan. He scored the entire trailer, so it's a mix of, I think, 3 different existing Dark Deception tracks all blended together. I know No Room for Doubt is one of them. Also, I think one of the Demon God tracks is mixed in. Let's see. Oh, Fascia. Okay. Somebody was clarifying how to pronounce their name to me. I think I said it Fascia, but it's Fascia. Okay. Rye Guy. Are any new traps being introduced in Enhanced Plus? No. Well, yes. I think EE has new traps. Deadly Decadence does not. Trying to think if any others have new traps. Oh, and Monkey Business has new traps. Let me just kind of sorting through the member chat. Papa King 69 has a question. How long does it usually take to make and texture the models? Is it just one person doing it, or is it a team? We kind of break down all the assets and do them individually. So, character models can take anywhere from 2 weeks to a month, depending on how complex they are. Environment levels can take... They vary wildly, and of course the environments become more complex and bigger as we go. So even the early levels in chapters 1 through 3 took about 4 to 8 weeks to complete. Chapter 5 levels take much longer. That's to model and texture them. So yeah, it's a very time consuming process. I think I kind of shared with Nixon. I was looking at my Ace Sprite account, which I use to make pixel art for Super Dark Deception. And just that alone already had like 1,000 hours of work put into that just for some pixel art for Super Dark Deception. That's just that one application, not even including all the work I do in like Photoshop and other applications that we use, much less in Maya. It'd be great if Maya, which is what we use to model everything, we don't use Blender, if Maya tracked the number of hours that we put in to the work, it would be ridiculous. When is Capybara? When is Chapter 6 coming out? Uh, hmm. That would probably be like 2030. Then we'll just call it Dark Deception 2 instead of Chapter 6. It sounds, sounds grander. Argo 4 says, will the clown spiders climb on the walls in the zones, or are they only on the ground? Well, the ones that chase you and are actually a threat are only on the ground. There are a couple spiders that are on the walls and ceilings, but they're mostly just there as, atmosphere. Will there be, okay, UBF13 says, will there be more levels added to the Fortnite map? So yeah, we've actually been discussing that with Stick Games. We've discussed doing additional maps in the future to keep expanding that. So we started with 3 maps: Mascot, Mayhem, Deadly Decadence, and Monkey Business. But like when Chapter 1 through 4 comes out, it makes a lot of sense to do maybe 2 or 3 additional maps. We could add in something like Barely Buried, or maybe Stranger Sewers makes a lot of sense. Or we could do Crazy Carnival. Probably the next 3 most popular maps or levels we could add to that map to kind of re-engage people, make them come back and try it out again, try out the new maps, and now there's even more maps to play rather than just 3. So yeah, we could definitely do that. I think Stick Games did an amazing job on that. Like, they really impressed me with how that turned out. Argo 4 asks, are some of the new changes, such as enemies and traps, exclusive to Demon Mode difficulty, or are they base game changes? They're base game changes. The Demon Mode difficulty has some exclusive additions that are not, they're kind of beyond those base game enhancements. So yeah, that's not really the same thing. Capybara Gamer says, do you by any chance know about the Malik tweet incidents? Nope, I do not know anything about that. It's like, what did I miss? Marshall asks, will Torment Therapy Zone 2 have lighting and decoration changes? It looks kind of basic, doesn't really stand out compared to the other zones. Oh, I agree with you 100%. I think that was my opinion of it as well, is that I thought it looked too generic and kind of boring. So yeah, we did change it a lot. So it's not nearly as boring as before compared to the others. We wanted to give it a lot more personality. So it definitely has that now. Let's see, Argo 4 was following up saying the Malik tweet incidents, or someone commented a ton of things under the Malik model reveal post. I mean, is this related to the game, or is this like Twitter drama? Because I don't get involved in Twitter drama. So if somebody had a little fight or said I hate Vince or some, stuff like that under the Malik post, I'm not going to get into that. Just leave it be. If they're saying some like hateful racist stuff or anything that violates terms of service with X, just forward that to me in an email and I'll block them. Easy. No drama. Oh, it's simping. Oof. That's a rabbit hole I don't know if I want to go down. That could turn Rule 34 pretty fast. I don't want to get into that. So yeah, let him simp. In fact, I've actually accidentally stumbled into some fan stuff like that. So I'm already kind of scarred. I can't get back into that. Rye Guy asks, how different is the self-destruct sequence in Mascot Mayhem? Very different. So I think one of the big fan feedback we got was, how come the castle doesn't blow up? So in the new one, you get to see the castle blow up. So it will be part of that. Let me see. Sorry, I'm kind of quickly skimming these member chats to find questions between the Malik simping comments. Oh, let me get to some of the email questions too. I'm going to kind of mix them in with the member stuff so they have time to ask some things. Sorry, I just got to sign into my... Okay. Okay, so I got another question about the M rating from Cole. And Cole asks, sup Vince, since Teddies is going to be rated M, would you compare it to games gore, or would you compare the game's gore to the up and coming game Ill, or would you compare it to something more the likes of Dead by Daylight? I think Dark Deception's M rating is a little bit different. It's definitely on the violence side, maybe more similar to Dead by Daylight. It doesn't go anywhere near Ill level. I mean, I haven't seen any real gameplay from Ill yet. Most of what they put out is like cinematic trailers rendered to look like gameplay. But based on what I see in the trailer, it looks like they're trying to go like really extreme, kind of Outlast, but more gore. So yeah, our game's still not going to have any gore, but it is going to have a lot of blood. You're just not going to see organs and guts and stuff like that, but there is a lot of blood. So you will see blood, you will get profanity, you will get very dark, mature themes. Nothing about like suicide though. So it doesn't have like any of that kind of really sensitive topics, I think, that are prohibited by some countries, like suicide and surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, but gambling and alcoholism and recreational drug use, you know, those things that are considered detrimental by a lot of countries. So it can lead to your game getting banned if it has too much of it. We're not really focusing in on any of those things. We're not trying to be that edgy. So we just want to be good, scary horror games. So, I mean, we want Lucky to be Lucky. Lucky's a foul-mouthed psychopath. So it felt a little weird that he has to speak, you know, with a filter on all the time. Whereas in the raps that we did for YouTube, he just goes full, you know, full Lucky in that those videos like Bad Rabbit. That's more the real Lucky. So we wanted to convey that in the game. So this is just works out conveniently that now he can be himself, and you can kind of see more of his real personality. But we love like having more blood and better kills and being able to do more psychological horror stuff. I think it's the psychological horror side that pushed the game more into an M rating, along with a lot of the dark themes. So this game does feel a lot more psychological horror now. There is a lot of I wouldn't say like hallucinations or any of those tropes of psychological horror that get kind of annoying really fast. But it does have a lot of inner reflection and um, kind of subversive occurrences in the level and things that are meant to heighten fear and anxiety. So I guess, I mean, I have my own opinion of it, but I'll see what you think. If you feel like if it's horror enough, once you finally play chapters 1 through 4 enhanced, it's kind of a preview of what's coming in chapter 5, but much more ramped up, more than that. So if people think it's too much for chapter 1 through 4, they're really, chapter 5 might be too much for them. So it'll be kind of a test as well. Let me see. Kind of looking through some of these questions. I'm only going to pick the ones that I can actually answer. Okay, so we have one from anonymous emailer. Says, will black mannequins be a main frenzy? Oh, I guess they're asking if black will be the color, the nightmare color of the Red Stalkers. No, it's not black. And the second question is, will there be more jump scares for Reaper Nurses and Penny the Chicken? They only have one. Yes, they all have multiple new kills for both those characters, including the rest of the Joy Joy Gang characters as well. Is Tammy's, question number 3, is Tammy's library, is the Tammy... Okay, I don't understand the question. It says, it's the Tammy's library, it's a place. Not talking about the soundtrack, of course. Tammy, you know, of course, Tammy is going to be addressed in Chapter 5, and you start to see her appear more in Chapters 1 through 4 through the added content, but Tammy doesn't really have, like, a level that's hers. So if that's what you mean, it's not like that. Scotty, okay, we got a question from Scotty. He says, here's my question for the Q&A live stream. Are there any animatics or old storyboards for the ballroom cutscene that you can show us? We do have animatics and cutscene storyboards, but not for the ballroom fight sequence. At least... Oh, actually, maybe we do. Maybe there is an old one that we can put out. Something like that will probably be in the game as a unlocked extra in the art gallery. Oh, okay. So this person has a Minecraft question. Says, Jameson asks, what is the name of the mortal we will play as in the Dark Deception Minecraft collab? If it's supposed to play out like one of the stories in the Malik archives. Actually, the Minecraft collab is not based on the Malik archives. It's based on Dark Deception. So you will be able to play as Doug Hauser. And you'll probably be able to play as the other characters like Tammy Hauser and Elise Hauser as well. And honestly, I mean, by the time we're done, you'll probably be able to play as any Dark Deception character. But I won't go into ideas or spilling details on the Minecraft collab yet, because we want it to be kind of a fun surprise once we actually have some visuals to show. So expect a big reveal on that, just like we did with the Fortnite map, where it had to wait a little while. Minecraft will come this year, and it will have kind of an event for it when it's ready, similar to what we did with Fortnite, where we'll put out a trailer and we'll kind of hype it up with some cool reveals prior to the launch. I'm looking at one other question. Okay, so Dark Deception. This is from Jaden Riley. It says, in a stream, Vince, you mentioned, or sorry, Dark Deception in a stream, Vince mentioned that he believes Dark Deception controls are better for PC, and Super Dark Deception controls are better for console. So why not put Dark Deception controls for PC for both of the games, and put Super Dark Deception controls for both of the games? I did mention that in a previous stream. I think it was the one before this, episode 30, that Dark Deception was built for PC and Super Dark Deception was built for consoles. So it feels much better with the controller, whereas Dark Deception feels much better with a mouse and keyboard because it's more twitchy gameplay, and Super Dark Deception is a top-down, pixel game. It's not a platformer, but it's kind of similar to Zelda or Mega Man, where it's a top-down perspective. So it's a different perspective. So different control works better with each one. So it doesn't work as well on Steam, on PC, if you're using a mouse and keyboard with Super Dark Deception. It's not comfortable. It's hard to maneuver as smoothly. So I always recommend everyone uses an Xbox controller for Super Dark Deception on Steam, or plays it on a Steam Deck. It's much better than using mouse and keyboard. It's probably the worst way you can play the game. So, but I don't think putting Dark Deception PC controls on Super Dark Deception would change that. It's just different perspective, different type of game. Some controls work better, some don't work as well. It's just the case here, whereas one just works way better with a controller. And there have been other games that were that way as well. They just didn't translate to PC as well. It's not really PC that it doesn't translate. It's to the mouse and keyboard. I mean, you can still play it with the mouse and keyboard. It's just a lot harder. Well, I get a lot of random emails. Okay. It's like, there's got to be a question in here somewhere. Oh, okay, I already answered that one. Just kind of scrolling past all the spam that I get every single day. Well, I have a lot of people offering me millions of dollars if I give them my information. So that's always nice to see. Let's go back to the member chat. I think the email's a little dry as far as like Q&A questions. Either that, they got buried hopelessly by spam and solicitor emails. I love it. Okay. Well, I got a message from Philia Z Pink. It says, "Hi, first time member here. I'm a huge fan of the Joy Joy Gang, and I was wondering if they're like celebrities amongst demon children. Is there a demon society? And if so, do children enjoy the Joy Joy Gang?" Oh man, the Joy Joy Gang. Yes, there is actually a society in the Nightmare Realms. And that's kind of like what we explored a lot with Chapter 5, was developing that and showing how all these nightmares exist together. That it's not just, they're all in their own little corner existing without knowing that the others exist. That they're all aware of each other and that they all have a place and a purpose to serve in that world. And that world is also, that realm is also very ruthless. It doesn't have any mercy for the weak or any that can't pull their weight. So the Joy Gang would not be the one to leave your kids with, even demon children. Maybe Agatha could survive, but Lucky is not a kid person. Trying to think how fast he would kill any children that annoyed him, demon or not, especially if they're mortals. He'd probably torture them in some way for his own satisfaction first. But Agatha is equally sadistic, so maybe they would get along well, and he's used to her because she's always with Malik. She's kind of like follows Malik. She's his little shadow. So, you don't mess with the boss's daughter. He would definitely tolerate Agatha. Maybe he's treated as like Uncle Lucky. But I can't guarantee he'd be a good uncle. Okay. How many? Well, we're over 3 hours now. And I'm still conscious, but definitely feeling it. So I'm going to end it here. Thank you all for sticking around for 3 hours with me. I think this is the longest Q&A stream I've ever done. I think the previous record was like 2 hours and 36 minutes or something, or close to 3 hours. I may be forgetting. Maybe we reached 3:16 once. But as far as I'm aware, I think this is the longest. So thank you all. I love the questions today. Great questions. These are always fun to do. And I'll see you next time. And I'm really excited for the next one because we'll have a lot to talk about. And it'll be leading up to chapters 1 and 4. And hopefully by then I've already shared some screenshots as well. So to future events, hopefully there's some chapters 1 through chapter 4 screenshots, teasers out on X that we can also talk about. And maybe some chapter 3 teasers for Super Dark Deception. We actually already have a lot of them for Super Dark Deception chapter 3. And definitely some House 2 teasers. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff coming. I'm excited. And then, of course, just looking around the industry, I see a lot of amazing games on the way. So I think we're all eating pretty good this year. Nobody's bored. There's plenty of stuff to talk about in games. And for anybody that wants to check in with me tomorrow, assuming I get enough sleep, I'll be on Pirate Canvas's podcast, just doing some game chat with him. So I'll post about that. But definitely need to get some shut-eye. So thank you all for your support. Whether you sent questions through email or you're a member or you did a super chat, they're all appreciated. And you all have a great time wherever you are, whatever time of day it is. Enjoy your weekend. And I'll see you online.